Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Bird 91. We're talking to you guys, well, about Love is Blind. Listen, it's crazy. We're going to give you guys episodes 3 to 8. That's 5 episodes in at least the next 2 hours or shorter. So, listen, buckle up, strap in, get your fingers typing on this keyboard. We want to hear your thoughts, we want to hear your opinions, and we want to know what you felt about the last few episodes. It's been crazy to me. Okay, this is going to be a review all over the shop because it's not going to be linear and synchronized as we normally do, which is episode 3, episode 4, episode 5. I ain't going to do that. Okay, we're going to talk about all the couples and whoever comes to mind, and so we're going to see different things. Okay, so honestly, it's going to be a really intriguing time. So I hope you're ready for the conversation. Okay, so yeah, I'll definitely be tapping in with some real conversation today. All right, listen, let's get into this. But before we do, if you're new here, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. And for those of you who are returnees, what does this top say? It says minerals, because you ain't got them. Yeah, you have got the minerals, guys. You got the minerals. All right, you got the minerals. You got the minerals. All right, cool. All right, so let's get into this tonight. Let's get into this tonight. Listen, I want to first and foremost start the show off by saying, guys and ladies, give me your craziest moment of this season so far. I want you to type in the chat. We have 59 people and more coming in. Give me your craziest moment of the season so far. I want to hear your particular views. What is the craziest moment of the season so far? What is crazy moment? I'm going to type it down. What is the craziest moment of the season so far? I want to know your thoughts. What is the craziest moment of the season so far? Talk to me. What is the craziest moment of Love is Blind season so far? Let's get some thoughts and opinions before we get the conversation. JR, I see you, bro. Let me give you the link as well, JR. I just realized you're here as well, bro. So let me send you a link as well. Let's get your thoughts. What's the craziest moments in this season? We want to hear what you got to say. Because you know what? The season's been crazy. And there's been moments. Okay? There's been moments. People are going to school. And people are going to be paying all the bills. So, we're going to definitely get some viewpoints on this as well. Okay, let's see what we've got so far. Okay, what we've got so far. Someone said eye drops. Okay, that was Andrew. Andrew with the eye drops. Someone said, I loathe Cole and Regan. Is that Cole and... Is that her name, Regan? Is it Regan? Is it Zan? I thought it was Zainab. Who's Regan? Am I missing Regan? I don't know. Bartise is not cool. The grass isn't always greener. Sometimes the grass is actually AstroTurf. Someone said Cole. Raven turning down Bartise. Wow. Okay. Bartise, he said, attracted to Nancy. Oh, gracious. Bartise telling Nancy in detail how much he desires Raven. Yeah, that was kind of mad. I can't lie to you. I mean, he told her too much. Let's be honest. Bartise telling Nancy he's attracted attracted more to Raven. I think that's a lot of people's points as well. Bartise all of a sudden not attracted to Nancy. Bartise telling his family about the abortion reviews of Nancy. Yeah, that was a bit mad for me as well. That was mad. That's also mad as well. Raven's friend saying it wouldn't work in front of SK. Yeah, listen, them goons are different, cuz. Them friends out here said, listen. I mean, they brought all the weapons out. All the weapons. They said, if we don't get you with the assault rifle, we're going to get you with the PP7, we're going to get you with the grenade, then we're going to hit you with the grenade launcher. Okay? All right? The rocket launcher. If that don't work, just in case you didn't know, SK, okay, she ain't even had a long-term relationship since I knew her. Just to make sure you wanted to let you know. Yeah. Okay, so that's a few one. Okay, what else is there? Andrew fake crying. Someone said Colleen and Cole with a side of Matt. That situation, I can't wait to talk about it as well. There's so many things in that as well that are so crazy. Because Colleen, first of all, Colleen told half a story. Because when she told Zainab, she told only half a story. So when Zainab was going to Matt, she's now figuring out, wait, hold on, Colleen didn't tell me this part of the story. And so she made herself look good. That told me everything I need to know about Colleen. She is dangerous. And Matt does have to worry. At first, I was like, I mean, I'm not saying Matt isn't a little bit temperamental too, and there's a bit of a, you have to watch out for him too. in the sense that he may be very overly emotional, and overly emotional men never really work out anyway. But she too cannot be innocent. Oh, I was just trying to say I was cute. Whatever. All right. Bartise putting Nancy beliefs on abortion. Yeah, that was another one. So that's a lot of people's thoughts actually as well. Okay, let's see what other thoughts are there. Someone said, "Oh, I think Bartise being so furious with Matt and jealous of his situation is bizarre. I get the impression Matt hasn't deeped all what happened to him in his last relationship. That's fair. That's a fair point too. I can hear you on that one. Let's see. Kathleen said she's been waiting for this as well. Okay. Someone said Nancy's poo talk. Nancy was moving mad. I can't lie to you, but you know what? Sometimes when you find your person, you can be as gross as you want. Okay. All right. I like to do some gross stuff too. Okay. Maybe not to about poo, but I like to lick faces. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I like to lick cheeks, noses, faces, tongues. I like to lick a lot. Probably should leave that alone. But Jay's behind laughing at me. Okay. Matt cursing Colleen out. And last few points before I get Jay on as well. I need to get some water in a second as well, actually. Say that. SK signing up for the show and leaving to go off to college in California. Then a friend says she would never. That's actually a fair point as well. I have to be honest. That is also a fair point as well. The fact that he went on the show knowing that he signed up for school, this might not be the best time to go to get married. I have to be fair. I have to be fair to that point as well. As much as I thought Raven moves mad, yes, SK being in that same position doesn't make no sense. Laughboy says, you guys know they only said it to his face because of how they feel about Nigerians. Ignorance is crazy. That's also another situation too. That's another situation too. That we can talk about. Let's see. Okay, cool. Let's 3 points. Okay, cool. You know what? Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. I will try and keep something. I really should have been highlighting these points whilst I'm here. Let me get Jay on. I'm gonna get Jay on, and let's get this conversation flowing. JJ,
what it do, boos? Hey, everybody. How y'all doing today? Happy Saturday.
Baby.
Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Woo! It's been a long day already. We only lost 3 hours of our lives, but
my ass cheeks are solid. That's what I'm saying. I lost my ass cheeks. I lost the feeling.
We lost 3 hours of our lives, and then this madness here of everybody, just when you on team them, you jump off a cliff, they just push you off. They like, you know what? It's
What was the craziest moment for you? What would you say is the craziest moment for you, Jay? Out of all the things happened so far up to episode 8, what's the craziest moment for you?
I would like to say the very end when Bartise is the voice of reason with Matt. That has to be the craziest thing, that you're so mad that Bartise is the voice of reason. Like, are you serious? Like, dude, I know you have your issues or whatever and stuff, but she went out to the club. Most clubs don't close until 2:30 on a normal day. Some to 3, 4, depending on what city you in. So it was just like, bro, you act like she been missing for 3 days and, and nobody believe you. Like, are you serious? And how is Bartise the actual voice that is making sense in this moment? Like, I give him that. He was really making sense. Like, this your situation is nothing to compare to what I'm really going through right now. This woman is actually trying to be with you, which is another crazy point to me, is she is still trying to be with him. I'm like, woman, did you not just see this? And he already has this issue from a previous relationship, and that little bit of temperament he gave you to gaslight you, make you cry. I'm not going to even say he gaslit her, but he made you cry in that moment, and then came back and lightweight manipulated you. And then, like, just made it like it was all bad on your part for being honest in a response. Now, you did go too far with the whole, if this was a real world, I'll take you up on a drink. But I kind of understood what she meant. If we were outside of this process and I met you there, not saying that I'm with Matt, but if I met you before or whatever outside of this process, yeah, I'll probably take you up on a drink. I understood that. But like that little bit set him that far off, and you still crying, talking about, no, I really want to work this out. It's like, girl, proceed with caution. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Proceed with caution. Yeah, that the the abortion thing is only because it's like, what are you guys are talking about in the pods? Are you guys not talking about families in the pods? And that should have been kind of a topic that came up in the pods when we talked about family and stuff. So that part kind of threw me for a loop. What else? The fact that people are trying to find their way out and starting arguments with it. And I'm talking about with Zinab and Cole, like, you're really pushing on that whole thing that he told Colleen, that she was a 10, and you had the nerves to ask that man, rate me, knowing he is brutally honest, and then going to fault him for it. So you're actually looking for a way out in that moment. You're looking for the way out. Because you went to Matt, started it with Matt, went to Colleen, started it with Colleen, went back to Cole to start it all over again with him. When he already affirmed you that I knew what I was signing up for by the type of name that you have. Your name is a dead giveaway that you're not a blonde. And so, yes, in their culture, yeah, blondes are most desired, but that doesn't mean that he can live up to the standards of a 10 that he deems as a 10, nor does it mean he really wants to be with a 10. It's just like, that's eye candy. That's that video girl. That's that thing, we dream girl, we picture or whatever. But you up there, you a high 8, like, let's roll with that. And I could work with an 8 because that's in my playing field. I don't have to live up to a 10. That I actually was surprised that Raven turned Bartise down, because I was thinking that she was going to kind of have some feelings towards it or whatever. But then again, I was not, because she checked him off the list when she was in the pod. Soon as that brother said, I'm not going to get you no Rolexes, before he even said yet, she was like, yeah, whatever you got to say right now. I'm not listening. I'm about to do this workout. Yeah, you can't afford me. So she been checked him off. So partially I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, I thought she was going to give him a little bit more something or whatnot. But that made me come back to the ledge with her for a slight second. And then she went to that, you need to pay half my bills.
We're going to talk about that. Trust me, we're going to talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. I don't want to rush it to that point. Let's start with the most boring part, because we got so much to talk about on that particular piece. I want to get your thoughts quickly. Not even quickly, but just get your thoughts on Brennan and Alexa. Because Brennan, it seems like they could be going well. Brennan and Alexa. I mean, the Jewish connect. He's not Jewish, but he's willing to become Jewish. He's willing to, acclimatize into her family. He wants to do whatever it takes. They did put a lot of pressure. They put some pressure on him though about the finances situation, as well. And he said he's willing to make it work and grow in that department. What's your thoughts been on them for the past 8 episodes, Brennan and Alexa? I know it hasn't.
Let me try to remember. Brennan and Alexa is the heavier girl, right, in the country.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I actually, those two seem the most sane on the surface, like the two that can actually make it on the surface. But then there are those major differences, like religion.
Yep.
Is a big thing. He comes from a different type of society that might frown, what I'm kind of guessing right now, might frown upon some of these things or whatnot. And when the Jewish culture is serious about their thing, and they rarely date outside of that.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. I mean, I appreciate him for accepting to walk down that path, but you can't just inherit somebody's thing just for love. You have to love that first for yourself. And so that's kind of a dangerous game to be playing with your livelihood as far as religion goes, by doing it out of love. Now, it can work out of love, but you still have to find it for yourself. You have to really be in it for yourself. So if he can do that, all great. My other concern is what his mother said. Was it him? I think his mother said he was a runner or whatnot. He has a tendency to run. I think that was him. If I'm not, I'm confusing it with what
Yeah,
is
it
that
was, it
one?
was, it was, it was.
It was
Yeah,
him.
I think
Okay,
it
I
was. Yeah, I think
think
it
it
was him.
was him. Yeah, that's another big thing. So I'm just like, okay, at what point do you decide this too much for you? And we kind of got a little clip. So I'm not going to spoil it for nobody, but if you paid attention, there was a little clip of what's coming later on and stuff. And I was like, oh, that is like the worst time to try to run if that's the time you're going to do it. Like, oh my gosh. But they have the spending differences because she's like,
Yep.
I'm only buying things once and wearing it once, and that's it. The spending habits, they, like I said, on the surface they seem very reasonable. He's all into her. He doesn't care that, you know, she is this certain weight. He likes her for her. He's like, I fell in love with you for this, and this is where I'm going with. I do like that a part about him. He enjoys it. He accepts his flaws, and that's why he can accept hers. But those differences, I'm just wondering
Mm.
how they're going to actually work through those. Are they going to really be, because she doesn't give me really like she's going to work. She's not giving me compromise right now. It's just like, this is how we are. This is my family. This is how I am. This is this, that. Take it or leave it. And he's giving me a lot of the compromise. And sometimes this is where I agree with you guys on that imbalance. When we have this imbalance like this, where I'm always giving, 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 you're always taking, taking, taking.
Hmm.
After a while, I get tired.
That's fair.
I get tired of giving because you're never going to get tired of taking. But at some point, I'm just changing my whole self, and I lose myself in you. And I don't want to see this man lose himself in her because he's already showing signs of a runner, according to his mom or whatnot. And then he's going to start resenting her for the changes that he felt he didn't make for himself.
Yep.
So if he can find his ground with her and she allows him to be the man that she needs him to be,
That's the question. Hmm.
yeah, that is the question. So we'll see.
That is a question. I mean, she did have a. Someone mentioned in the chat that she did have, um, you know, already. You know what it is? He's already said that she's got a more dominant personality. He's got more of a. You can see that he looks like he could be a good type in terms of playing the support role. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he did say he wouldn't mind being at home with the kids. I don't know if you guys heard that. He said he don't mind being home with the kids. He wants to. Well, more specifically, what he said is he wouldn't mind taking more of a role in terms of the kids. He wants to be able to coach his kids and be around his kids and be that kind of family person. If Alexa is cool with making more money, I mean, the family doesn't sound like the family's alright with that. But if Alexa is cool with that and he's cool with the role of playing maybe a secondary role while she's more dominant in the financial aspect, then hey, who am I to say anything? You know what I mean? If it works for them. But there are complaints about how she
Mm-hmm.
wants to be handled in the bedroom. And usually that stems from the whole when the person's complaining about being handled in the bedroom, that's going to stem elsewhere as well. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
as much as she may not complain now about finances, whatever, she's already saying about she wanted him to throw him around. I was like, baby, I don't know if you noticed. I know he's a tall lad, but you know what? It takes a lot of strength to throw someone around. I don't want to be rude, but I want to be real with you. Okay, so maybe you want to say the word, I want to be manhandled a bit more. Because throwing
Mm-hmm.
around ain't no joke. Okay, so just want to put it there. Okay, I mean, unless you marry a Jamaican man, then they don't mind. They can handle every type of weight. Okay, Jamaican men can take every weight. Get you a Jamaican man. Okay, but you know, the reality is, I was like, sis, I need you to. I was like, you asked me thrown around. This is a lot, you know. So, but she's already complaining already about that issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she did that with somebody who's not him. So, why was she so open to discussing that issue, which is gonna? It's one of those conversations, which can be embarrassing for the other party. I mean, I would say the same thing about him. If he was saying she don't give me top correctly, I'll be like, bro, what the hell? Like, bro, you are talking to somebody you shouldn't be talking to about this. This is you and her conversation. You should talk about this. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? yeah.
And I'm gonna
So
address the thing that Monique King said in the comments that her dad can afford her lifestyle. They'll be okay. That's not okay for a man, because that starts to make him feel some type of way. It's the same thing when the mom is doing so much for the son and the daughter starts feeling away. That does not work for the long haul. It'll work in the beginning, but once a man starts feeling like he's in the parent-in-law's pockets, and those whispers start happening, because they are going to happen, like, okay, when he gonna do what he got to do, when he gonna step up, when he gonna do this and stuff, and he's gonna start feeling some type of way. It's gonna start some stuff later on down the road. They'll work for the beginning, but that can't happen for the long haul. It's just not gonna work.
yeah, no, I definitely hear that, and you're right. I mean, it's going to affect eventually. And it's one of those things again in the pods. Are we discussing this? Are we discussing financial differences and gap? Because I told you guys already this. When someone told me that they were gonna make this amount of money in about 5 years' time, I said, "It's good that you're gonna make that. Thank you. I'm gonna take my bow and leave because I don't think I'm gonna make that kind of money that you're talking about. Half a mil? You lot are playing with me. I don't know if I'm gonna make that by 5 years' time. I don't want that pressure. Where you're going, sometimes you just have to let people go in that trajectory and not stop them from getting to that particular place, because sometimes that's what people want to do. It's like, if you are not moving at the same speed, you might want to just take a step back. If it works out that you guys rekindle again later on in the future, remain friends. If you rekindle later in the future, fantastic. But money's a big issue. It's one of the biggest reasons why people divorce. So you can't actually play with it. As much as you want to say love is something, love ain't paying the bills, number one. Number two, when people have an expectation for a lifestyle, we've heard Raven, as much as I joke about her and be annoyed, she's like she said, she has a certain lifestyle and wants to uphold that. That's why money becomes an issue. Nobody wants to downgrade when they've lived a certain lifestyle. So you should be discussing this in the pods. So that's going to be a pressure in itself. It's going to be pressure in itself in terms of how they're gonna flex and how they're gonna flow as well in future. So I don't know. I don't know. But I definitely agree with your point though about he has to want it for himself and not just do it because he loves her. You will not have enough to sustain you all that time. You eventually
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's religion, financial, anything. And it's not just for men either, it's for women too. If you're doing stuff, you have to do it because you love it. It's just like when you find your passion in some type of career or something, you have to do it because you love it, not because your parents are telling you to do it or society is saying this is what you should go for and all this stuff. Because you're going to not like it, you're not going to enjoy it, you're not going to want to do it for the long haul or whatnot. And if you're dealing with a person, you're going to start resenting them because you're going to blame them to some degree as why you're doing it, when the actuality is you chose to do it, though you weren't fully committed to it. And so you just got to know, and you're going to let the other person down. Regardless if you're trying to hurt them or not, you're going to let them down because you're going to have to come to a decision at some point and say, do I want to continue doing this? Do I want to continue to make myself miserable to please you? Or do I just slap you in the face right now with the truth? Do it early. Y'all can figure it out then, work it out. And like you said, if we have to be friends for some years until I can come to this conclusion on my own, then that's what it will be. I mean, love includes loving yourself first, really, because that's the only person you're going to be with the longest. Your partners come and go for whatever reason, life, unlife, whatever reason they take, and people come and go out your life, but you're going to be with you for the longest. So if you don't know what makes you happy, you're never going to be happy in a relationship with anybody else, and you're not going to be happy or not going to be able to make another person happy. So take care of yourself first. I'll definitely say that.
100% agree that as well. 100%. Let's see if there are any more comments, guys. Audience members, what's your thoughts on Brennan and Alexa? Any more thoughts on that before we shift over the conversation? Someone said Brennan is yesing for everything, especially converting to Judaism. His face when Alexa's dad pulled out the knives and circumcised him. I wasn't sure if they were being serious or not. I thought it was. I was hoping they were joking, but I
was hoping they were joking, but they kept going with the joke a little long. I was like,
is a real thing. So, I mean, to be honest, they don't practice Judaism to the fullest tilt, so maybe they won't ask him to do that. So maybe they don't hold to every tradition of Judaism. So I don't know. So whew,
They was
let's
going with
hope
it
it
for
stirs you
quite a
up.
minute though. I was like, it was a joke, and then it was like 2 minutes later they were still on it. I was like, wait, are y'all about to do it now?
Trust me.
Like, I
Trust
got some
me.
alcohol. You could take a sip and pour the rest on you. Like, wait.
It's a madness indeed. It's a madness indeed. Someone said, Brennan Alexa can work. No reason to think it wouldn't work. No, I think they can work. I just think we're just saying that there are issues there that you may not see right now, but need to be resolved. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That if they can resolve those issues, then yeah, by all means, they're fine. They both have family as important high up on their list. The fact that he is compromising to a degree as well. I think he said I love you as well. He's attracted to Alexa. Not
He
physically
said
or
it,
mentally.
and she didn't quite say it back either. So I was like, ooh. I'm not saying that she had to.
No, but
Not
I hear you
saying that
saying.
she had to,
I
but
hear.
she didn't
I
quite
remember
say
that
it
part, but
back
yeah.
either. Yeah, she did. Out of everybody, I noticed a lot of people were saying "I love you" and "I love you back" or whatever. She didn't quite say it back. She was just like, "Oh," and I
I mean, I
and
did
I,
say.
I respect it. Like I said, I respect it because I'm the type of person. I'm usually the one that say it first, and I'll tell a person, "Look, you don't have to say it back. This is how I feel," or whatever.
Yeah.
No pressure. But that was a bit, and so that led me to think like, if she would get tired of him.
That. I mean, that's because already remember he's already compromised on everything. So naturally now also to say I love you first just makes you do. It does make you think. He's already said she got more of a dominant personality that you might be chasing her around, and that can be unattractive. So let's hope that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope that doesn't get to that place. But yeah, I hear what you said on that. You know,
Yeah.
um, so yeah,
They do have the
it's
least of the problems of the bunch or whatever, but there are still some that can be worked out. That's the beautiful thing about their thing. They can be worked out. The religion thing is just the biggest one for
yeah.
me, and the financial. Those two are the biggest ones actually. So we'll see.
Oh boy. All right. Um, okay. Next couple would do. We've done Brennan Alexa. Let's do. Well, let's do. Our people here. What have I got on the list? Nate. What have I got? That's not right. Sorry. I'm going through my notes now. I realize I haven't gone through all my notes here. Oh, there we go. Fantastic. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Bartise and Nancy, and then we can discuss also her conversation with Andrew, his conversation with Raven, and get some thoughts on that as well. Bartise, Nancy, Raven, plus Andrew. Want to get people's thoughts. Ooh, baby, there was a lot to go through in this situation. I ain't gonna lie to you. What are you saying, Jay? You clasped your hands together. What's going on?
I'm gonna start backwards with Andrew coming into the picture in that conversation. Um, that was it was weird because when he asked her, "Do you have any regrets? Do you feel like you should have picked me or whatever and stuff like that?" I kind of was thinking she was gonna say yes, and she went to a no, but then broke down crying, and I was just like, it's kind of like telltale a little bit right there, like. And I know Andrew is not dumb, so he was probably like, "Okay, sis, but you're sitting here crying. So, if you're happy, why are you crying? If he's doing all he's supposed to, and he's a man of your dreams, why are you crying? What is the right like?" And she wasn't totally forthright. Like she told a bit, but it wasn't the whole thing of why she's actually crying. You're crying because you just realize you're not living up to his standards. And it came out of nowhere. That was the effed up part about it, is because it didn't happen until he seen Raven. So he was all fine with his choice up until he seen Raven. And which kind of pissed me off is because you knew why you didn't pick Raven. You knew that she emotionally just detached from you in the moment at your most vulnerable moment. She started working out. And that's when you decided. And so you see this woman, and all of a sudden you forget about it. And I know looks are that important to men, but like when you guys are serious about a relationship, you guys do want more than just looks out of a woman. We're not gonna make you guys that vain. You guys are not really that vain, you know. And it could have been like a cold situation where it's like, yeah, yeah, in the real world, that's what I actually will go with. But see what the real world has been getting me? Nothing. That's why I'm here. But you didn't. You literally checked out from this woman to the point you're talking about you're not even turned on to her no more, that you can't even get that emotional spark no more because you're not even talking to her. You're not even trying. You got turned down by Raven. It's not even a chance that you have there. So it's like that should have been more of a door for you to go make it work with Nancy. But you didn't take that opportunity. You just decided that you're just going to check out from her. So it was kind of giving me F-boy status because it's like you got what you wanted. Now you're going to just move on. And he has a wonderful gift of gab because for whatever reason, he says some effed up stuff in his truth. And I give him that. It's his truth. And a lot of times we want that truth. But then you go back and you just like throw sugar on the salt you gave her. And just be like, okay, this is just, I understand, but I'm here with you. I'm trying to work it out with you. But she can feel that you're not. Because everything that you did in the beginning before you seen Raven is not happening anymore. And you know it. That's the effed up part about it. You know it enough to explain to us. It's not like, I don't know why I'm feeling like this. I don't know where this is. I'm just not turned on by it anymore. I literally know I don't want you. Like, I'm not feeling you, and I'm not even trying to try. Yet you would talk to her like you are. That's the problem. I'm like, why would you just tell her you don't want her? It'll be so much easier. Just tell her you are a vain individual. You don't have no depth about you. And you don't want nothing more than something shallow and surface. I want to be that couple that just looks good to everybody, but we got all kind of drama going on in our personal lives, but we look good when we go outside for the status purpose. If you're trying to be on a YouTube influencer, just tell her that's I want to be an influencer. I want to have a workout buddy. I want to do that and stuff like. But don't do this woman like that because she is actually really trying. Now, she got her own little problems too. Don't get me wrong. Nancy was over here withholding a lot of information that I can see where he stepped back in some aspects at. You telling us that your ex was your financial advisor or whatever the case may be, but he's actually involved more with the houses than you are because his name is on all the houses and all the properties or whatnot. Then you're like the abortion thing, which is a very big thing. And I can tell it's a big thing in his family because his mother started crying behind it. So it almost gave me to the point that they have lost a child and they know how it feels before, so that's a big thing for some people. And I'm just going back to what are y'all talking about in the pot? Because why are we here? A week into it and we having these conversations about if I have a deformed child, would I get rid of it? That's a real thing that you should have with your partner long before. And I get this is dating on steroids, but all that time we had nothing to do but talk. This could have been great conversation. You should, if you guys have a checklist, this should have been on your checklist of, let me see how you feel about family stuff. Oh, subtitle, how you feel about abortions. Let's go down this because these are real things for me. Money situation is real for me. Lifestyle, it's real for me. These things need to be discussed. If you got nothing but time to talk and not lust over each other physically, these are the conversations you should be having. In depth. So you can make a proper decision on, you know what, I think we can really make this work. But I don't know. You let me know.
Listen, you know what? There, I think the reality with Bartise is, He wanted Raven, and she messed up, and he
Mhm.
knew he knew he couldn't choose her. But the problem is, he's seen her too quickly. I mean that in the sense of like from the pod to now, there's not been enough time to reset. And he's made a fool of himself in that time. This is where he should have been cautious about what he says. And this is why drink is such an annoying thing, because people don't know how to control sometimes their drink, and then it makes you say stuff that you don't need to say. Because it was drinking at the time of drinking when he went home, he said these things to Nancy, and she can't forget that. Right? You can't take that back. I say this to people. Sometimes it's better just to shut up, because what you say cannot be taken back ever,
Mhm.
ever. Okay? People don't forget. And why would they? You said it. So, in that moment, look, he could have had those thought and go, "Do you know what, frick, Raven's looking bad. She's looking good." And not said anything and just kept him pushing. You know what? Then had a conversation with Raven, say, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, blah, 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 blah. But now you've elicited this whole conversation with Raven after you spoke to Nancy and told her you're more attracted to Raven as well. And then you're having this conversation in the pool. And then you're trying to also, throw these compliments. And all you really care about is how good looking she is. Like,
Mhm.
that's the reality when you're now being drawn out simply by her. I'm not saying that you're not going to get, a little bit like, oh, she's a baddie. But you know what? I remember she's a bit of a mad one. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Clearly it's not stuck in your mind enough, and that oftentimes is symptomatic of somebody who um, hasn't been in enough situations where they've chosen the right choice, because they haven't built up that self-discipline to say, I need to choose what works best for me. You know what I mean? Because this is now you're trying to choose Raven is not the best choice for you. It was utter disrespect. And so yeah, there's a lot that's happening there. But in reality, you know what, I can it's you know what, he's not as attracted to Nancy as he is to Raven. And the reality is, when you see someone, you know what, this just reminds me back in the day of when social media really first started. I'm talking about MySpace, Tagged, Bebo, MSN. I'm talking about those days, not talking about now. Those days where people would meet up, after looking at their pictures, and then they look at the picture, and you'd be like, "This is not who I was talking to." When I saw the pictures, this is not who I'm talking to. And let me tell you something. When I was younger, I experienced this. Just saying, I experienced this, so I do have some sympathy. I experienced it when I was younger, but this is why I wouldn't go on the show. This is why I wouldn't go on the show, because me, I'm a bit shallow. I'm gonna be on the street. We already know. We spoke about this on the channel so many times.
But
You know.
in his defense too, it's not just shallowness to that degree. He did have a strong connection with her on other reasons, because they did connect a lot of other ways, and that just doesn't go away. That doesn't just go away. So to combine that with the looks, I get where he's going, but I do agree with you. Shut up. Sometimes your truths are just not needed. Okay, it's a time and a season for when you need to share your truths, and some truths need to go to the grave with you. Like seriously, they just need to die with you, and nobody needs to ever know about them. And that's where, like we had that talk on that lady. Some of them truths need to die with you. We don't need to know. Your partner doesn't need to know all this stuff. That's I see this. Damn, did I make a mistake? Well, let me work this through to see if I made a mistake. Because you didn't even work it through to see if you actually made a mistake yet. You didn't even give this time. Like you said, you're 2 days out the pod and you're seeing this other person. And now you're questioning yourself. Did I end it too fast? I should have gave her the extra more day. Why? She turned you down in your vulnerable moment because you didn't say enough money talk to her. So you're never going to live up to her anyway. Did you not hear SK just tell you at the boys thing, like, she didn't give me none. So you just assumed that because she didn't give him any, that she was going to give you some? If it had been you, y'all would have worked out. She kind of gave you that same look she gave SK, a little worse, like, yeah, no, still wouldn't have worked for me. So you should have just been quiet. Say, babe, I choose you. Here, we're going to work this out. She's beautiful, but we're going to work it out. Just let it go. Just shut up. So I don't know. I wonder if Andrew gonna come back again though one more time. We know somebody likes seeing Andrew. Hey, Seaway.
Hmm.
Well, that's a good intro for me.
Talk to us, Seaway.
I do like looking at Andrew. I really do. Hey, y'all.
Hey, Seaway, you're right. Tell us your
Hey,
thoughts.
hey.
We're talking about Bartise and Nancy. Tell us your thoughts on the Bartise and Nancy situation. Where do you stand?
Honestly, and I'm switching to my computer now. Honestly, Jay took, probably because we talk about this so much, but Jay took the words out of my mouth. I mean, I don't know if I could say it better. I think Bartise is the example of a few things. One, why you need to go with your first gut. If your life experience at 31 taught you that you really shouldn't take a 25-year-old seriously, I think that's a good call. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. Yeah, I know she kind of had a difficult, call between Andrew and Bartise for two different reasons. But I think what you're seeing a lot in him is extreme immaturity. And he's battling himself because I think part of him wanted, what he got from Nancy in the pods, but as soon as he got outside of the pods and he saw Raven, it's like that 25-year-old's coming out and he's not prioritizing anymore. And like Jay said, it's like, yeah, you may have had that instant, feeling like, dang, did I make a mistake? But we all go through that. Like, that's something that you process on your own and you don't get drunk and start pillow talking. Like, you can tell Nancy that once you come to your own conclusion, like, hey, I'm struggling here. Like, I really like Raven a little more, like, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't even do that. He just started running his mouth, talking about who's a baddie, who's a smoke show. I don't even know who says that. He was just doing too much. And I think that's that immaturity. And unfortunately, I think Nancy's going to get drugged through the mud with it as it relates to that particular issue. I know you guys haven't got to the termination of life yet, but once we get there, I have comments on that as well. But anyway,
Cool, appreciate Seaway. And when we do get to that part, we're just gonna have to give it a different name because demonetizations, So we'll just call it the A. All right, Jr. Talk to us. What's your thoughts on this? And I'll head back to Jay after this.
Yeah, man, Bartise, boy, I don't know what he was thinking going so in detail about this connection with Raven. Um, it's going to create so much insecurity because you can already see that um, his attraction to her is way too much for him to be disclosing like that. So I think that it sets the relationship off on a bad footing because now that's going to forever be part of their journey, part of their story that he shared it with her like that. But also, he's been throwing shade on SK too much. I think that's a lot of hating going on. In my opinion, SK is probably a better fit for Raven, to be honest, because she said that she wants someone that can see her not just for her looks, and she already has identified that that's all Bartise is interested in. And SK going off to Berkeley to study, but also being someone that wants to get to know her mind more than just the physical. So yeah, Bartise, for me, he's a villain, man, no doubt about it. Like, because I think if given the opportunity, if given the chance, he will take full advantage of that opportunity to get to know Raven better. And that's not the way forward. He had the opportunity to choose her, he didn't, and Raven also picked up that he wasn't complimenting her inside the pod. But as soon as he saw her outside and they were in the pool and talking and everything, Like, she can smell it from a mile away, and that turned her off. She's not feeling him either. So, yeah, he pretty much doomed his relationship, in my opinion.
Appreciate it, yeah. Jay, what's your thoughts again?
No, I don't have much more to add to it. I'll just go into the Roe versus Wade of it all. You know,
That's
like,
fine.
you know, like I said, I don't know what we were talking about, why this came up and it was so deep or whatever. I get the challenges that she's seen and that she, you know, she kind of don't want to experience, but it's just like, I guess I would say take the pre-measure to see if you even have those genes in you first, because there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. Like, something can go right all the way through up and through the pregnancy, and at the very end in the delivery room, that's when something happens. You know, so what do you do then? Something can happen later on in the child's life that makes the child, you know, develop different things or whatever. What do you do then? So I get where, and I mean, I could be projecting here because I do have a strong stance on not doing that. So I get, you know, that fear of having a child like this, but babies are blessings no matter how they come. And you just have to work through them. And those particular children teach you so much in life. They teach you so much about yourself, and it's a different experience to have a child in that realm or whatever. And yes, it is some hard times. I've known some people that had like 2, 3 multiple kids that deal with, you know, autism and things like this, and they deal with it on different levels with each child, and it can be very draining to the parent sometimes, and it could be financially hard sometimes. But when you start developing a way to connect with that child, that is like such an experience. Seriously, because I've taken care of that child that was hard on the parent, and I've built a bond with that child. So it's such an experience to go through that. And I see the other side of it. It's hard. It's a lot. But being in a position where I've had a kid and struggle having more, you don't want to do that to your body. You don't want to just keep putting your body in that position. And also the other road is too many of those would stop you altogether from having any. So it's just like, I think it's a tough conversation on both ends. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a tough fight right there. And I get both ends thing with it. I just wish they would have had this conversation a lot sooner. But I guess this could be an open door for people to just check out and say, you know what? This relationship is not working for me. And this is the last straw. You know, because that's what I'm seeing with a lot of these couples anyway, is them trying to keep a door open so they can go on through it at some point in time. So maybe this is Nancy's door opening, saying, hey, you know what? You're not that into me anyway. So let me go find somebody that's more aligned to my cause than you are later on. So I don't know how they're going to deal with it going forward. And then if you, like, you know, some of us religious people know that you can't even do that. Once conception is there, that's it. You know what I'm saying? You just got to deal with the responsibility. So I don't know what all the reasons for Bartise not wanting to go down that path. If it is it, I want him to maybe have more conversation with her. He doesn't have to tell us, but if they have more conversation on why it is, maybe he's had one experience in the past, maybe they experienced as a family a loss or whatever, you know, or they just have that religious belief that we don't do this. Whatever the case may be, they need to talk about it some more in depth and really figure out if this relationship will work going down, because kids are a big thing to make or break a relationship as well. You know, those are big things going forward. So I figure a way to close them doors, but I don't think, you know, she really wants to. I wouldn't want to close my door after he done said what he said. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the reason for his strong stance is because wasn't he meant to be terminated or something like that? I think it was something to do with him personally. That's what the story was. That's what he was telling her. That
Oh,
something
that's
to do
why the
with
mom
him.
was crying. Because
Yes.
the mom was in big tears, I know, and so I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out who it was.
It's something to do specifically with him being a miracle child. I think something happened and he was. I don't know if it was Plan B or whatever. I don't know. Something to do. No, it was the fact that I think she was on the pill at the time and she wasn't able to get pregnant or whatever. And then boom, he
Mm.
comes out and it's like a miracle child. So I think that's for him why it's such a big thing. You know what I mean? So that's why it was such a, I guess, personal thing for him personally.
I think too, if I was in that position, and I'm looking from a man's standpoint on this one. You tell me this news and I want to have this, but then you go and run these tests and then you find out something's wrong with it, and you're like, nope, I don't want to do it anymore. And it's just like my body, my choice type situation, and then it's left me to be like, what do I do? Because I'm already starting to develop. Now I'm not going to develop the feelings that you have because of course it's tied to you, but I want to be a dad. I want to be a parent. And I think as a couple, I mean, from what she was saying at the end of it, she was kind of like, yeah, well, it's going to be my body, my decision or whatever. But when you decide to be a couple, those are decisions together. It's just not, I'm going to do it. Now, if it's going to cause her to be unalived and the child, then that's something different. There are those complications that go that far, but that's still a conversation that both of you should be having, not just one person saying, well, I made up my mind. This is what we're going to do.
Go for it, Sive.
I look at this from a few angles, right? And I did a video about this on my TikTok. My biggest thing with this is that I see a lot of people, especially on these reality TV shows, ruining their relationship over hypothetical situations. It seems like that is just like a common theme, and I wonder why we do that. I know, because I know this channel is big on studying behavior, and that seems to be a behavior that causes a lot of issues. It's like absolutely no one, hypothetical, drastic situation, absolute destruction. Okay. And I think that's a problem for a few reasons. Nancy, and I'm going to address what Jay said too, just about how I feel about it. But I think the bigger thing is Nancy does like what a lot of people do. She asks polarizing questions and is not prepared for the answer. And I think we all kind of experienced this with like the 2016 election for the Americans in the chat. The 2016 election or the vaccinations. Like I had to stop asking people if they were vaccinated because I felt very strongly about it, and I didn't want someone to say no, I'm not, and then I get mad at them. You know what I mean? And so I had to stop asking questions that I didn't want the answer to. And that doesn't mean, oh, you should be in denial. But the thing is, if you want those answers, and I do think for a serious relationship, you should get those answers, you need to be prepared for it going left. And I could tell that Nancy just assumed, maybe she thought because they were both people of color, even though you need to be aware somebody got a white mom, and y'all can go ahead and go in on me in the comments. But Bartise has a white mom, and in Texas, I'm going to leave that where it's at. Okay. So she shouldn't have assumed just because they're both people of color that they were going to have the same stance on this. Like a lot of times we do. Like if I go up to another black person and I'm like, yeah, F Trump, they're going to be like, yeah, F Trump. Like I have this ability. I think that they're going to be aligned with me, but this person could be Kanye. You know what I mean? Like you don't know. So I don't have a problem with her asking that question, but I think she needed to be prepared to walk away. Same thing with last season when old girl asked if dude believed in God, and he said that he was an atheist, and it completely ruined their relationship. And I don't think she was prepared to hear that he was an atheist, and it literally tanked their entire relationship. That doesn't mean she shouldn't have asked the question, but you need to be prepared to walk if you have strong views on that topic. And that is all I am saying, because they both have a right to have their views. But as a woman, just like it's your body, your choice, it's the same thing why women feel so strongly about this topic. Because at the end of the day, a man can walk away and often does walk away. And this child that you have is still your child, regardless of if they say, oh, we doing this together, woo out the band, woo out the band. Married, not married, you need to know that as a mother, this is your primary responsibility. And if you are naive to that, you're going to set yourself up for the okie doke. So if you feel strongly about having a disabled child, then you should be prepared to walk away and not be mad at him for having strong views as well, because you don't like his answer. And then to what Jay said, you know, I think we all have our views on this particular situation. I personally feel that unless you're prepared to forfeit your life like Jesus on the cross, or have that mindset, then you may need to think long and hard about bringing a disabled child into this world. And I respect people and mothers who are willing to forfeit their life for the benefit of their child. And I think that is beautiful. That is godlike, and that is Christ-like. But a lot of people are not prepared to take on that level of burden, and they don't want to have the conversation about having a disabled child or a child on the spectrum. Any of that will change your life, sometimes forever, not just for the 18 years. And I have to respect everyone's opinion, because we only have one life. We only have one life, and you have to spend it how you want to spend it, you know? And that's just kind of, you know, how I feel about that. So I respect Nancy. I respect Bartise, but I don't think either one of them was prepared for the conversation. And Bartise knew what he was doing by bringing up that conversation at the dinner table in front of his conservative family, because it was giving conservative. And that sister crying, I wanted to smack her because she was doing the effing most. He knew that he was going to trigger his temperamental sister and his mom with the stuff face. And then his dad was like, I wish you all the best. I'm like, what? Is this an interview? Like, so that's my opinion on it. Yeah, thank you, C. Grant. He set her up, and he know what he was doing. So.
Yeah, you know, it's just to jump in quickly, and I'll let Jar go. It's really interesting, because I think it is a tough conversation, you know, when it comes to this situation. You're talking about having a kid, you know, who could change your life drastically. Having a kid in general changes your life drastically. But I think the part that maybe Bartise missed, I'm not saying that he had to agree with her, by the way, because everyone's entitled to their side of things. And which is why that is a compatibility issue. That actually should have been discussed in the pod. That's a major compatibility issue. That's not a chemistry issue. That's a we got a problem and we need to go our separate ways issue. But you know, the biggest thing is that she actually works with children with these children who are disabled, children who also have I don't know a proper word, and so I'm not going to use any word, but you know what I mean. Okay, so Down syndrome kids, that's it. So she works with also kids who are Down syndrome. So having been in that situation, it can change your outlook on the difficulties of the situation looking after these children, which is what she expressed. She said, I've been working with these kids, and you don't know how it is until you work with these kids to see how difficult it is. And I'm going to be honest with you. In my heart of heart, I said, I pray every day, Lord, let me have healthy kids. Because it is one of the most difficult things, because you cannot quit. This isn't a thing that you can say, do you know what, it didn't work, my business failed. This is a child who needs love, attention, and care. But if that child also is disabled, potentially you're going to have to look after that kid for life. If you don't have the financial means, that child is now with you for life. And your life is completely changed. So I also understand that point for her. You know what I mean? I can hold that space for her and say, I understand where you're coming from. I only disagree because of my faith. That's the only reason why I disagree. My humane side of me tells me, go on with you, okay? Because it couldn't be me, all right? But my faith side says to me, I can't agree with that, you know what I mean? But my humane side says, I see where she's coming from. And so therefore, this conversation really is a compatibility issue, and actually shouldn't have been discussed at this particular point. It should have been discussed at the pod area and then said, no, we have a fundamental difference, just like we saw last season with the blonde-haired chick, and I forgot her name now, and old boy, when they were discussing faith. You knew you're a Christian and you're choosing somebody who's an atheist, who told they're not going to move, they're not going to be anything else. It's a compatibility issue, and it should never be allowing people to go past that point. If you've got a compatibility issue, guys, you got to walk away. You can't try to ignore that flag. That's a flag that's has to be done. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I know there's a whole discussion around what people believe is a time that you can abort. I mean, that's actually the word, but can terminate, whether you can or not. That's a whole debate in itself. But what we're talking about is understanding where Nancy is coming from. I can also understand that perspective. You know what I'm saying? Before you go again, see, I'm gonna let JR go, then you can jump back in again. Go for it, JR.
Yeah, I was going to actually agree, and you took the words right out of my mouth, Kojo. The thing is, this is the type of conversation that you have in the pod, because that's when you're spending time getting to know the compatibility level before you make the decision, right? So having that type of conversation afterwards, again, is going to kind of sabotage the relationship, because you're at two different perspectives, and you each have a right to your own views, your own perspectives. But if the relationship is a successful one and lasts outside the show, then there may be a possibility to have children. And if that does come up and you're at opposing standpoints, then it's going to cause irreparable damage, right? And like we said earlier, Bartise isn't particularly feeling Nancy like that anyway, right? For what we see, he likes her, he chose her, but he's been easily swayed by Raven. So to have the conversation about kids, I feel it was a setup in a way, because he knows how his family are gonna view it, and he's heard her point of view, and he still decided to air it at the dinner table like that. So that was a setup, in my opinion. And finally, I would say that, I mean, I don't have kids of my own yet, but I do pray, like you, that I have healthy children when it does come to that point, right? Because I do know, and I can understand, I've worked with children that are on the spectrum as well, and ADHD and other disabilities, they require a lot more care and supervision, and it can also put a strain on the relationship, having to manage the child's life as well as your own lives and try and get it right. And the care often will last longer than the 18 years when a normal child is fully independent or able to go off and do certain things. So yeah, it's definitely a lifelong commitment that you're signing up to, and you have to respect both opinions, but ultimately it's a discussion that should have been had a lot earlier. That's my take.
Yeah, JR. And I agree with you. And I also want to clear something up. I see in the comments, but if for you guys living in America, I think most people agree with me, but some people don't realize what is a conservative position in America in 2022. Being pro-life on the spectrum in America in 2022 is actually a conservative position. That doesn't make you a conservative all in all. Actually, most Black people have a lot of conservative positions. I have a lot of conservative positions. That doesn't make me a conservative person all in all, because there's a lot of stuff on that side of the spectrum that I can't rock with, the systematic racism and all of those things. But that doesn't mean that isn't a conservative value. Evangelical Christians in that standpoint is actually the pillar of conservatism. So maybe people haven't come to terms with that with yourself, with that being a conservative position. But it is one. And it just is what it is. That doesn't make it a bad position. It just makes it your position, and makes it that means you have a conservative position. Because on the other side, if we're looking at what liberals believe in, that is the opposite of that. They believe they can do what Nancy did, take their eggs and ship them UPS all across the country. Life doesn't begin till after you're out of the uterus and whatever. That is their position. So, and I mention that because you also need to pay attention to where you are and where people's value systems may lie. And that's why I said you have to know these people are in Texas, and where a lot of people have this conservative position. So you need to be aware that if you have a position that may appear to be more liberal, that you may come up against opposition, and people may feel a way about what you're saying, and you need to be prepared for that. And that's all I'm saying. But I 100%, like Kojo, I'm torn for that very reason. I understand both sides. I even feel like Jay said she understands both sides. She just, people feel the way they feel. And that's Celery. I'm not being literal. I'm not being literal. Let me, because I'm not being literal, y'all. I didn't really mean outside, but y'all know what I mean. I know that the standard is 24 weeks, whatever, but there's a difference. So I just wanted to clarify that. And I don't think we should tussle with each other, not saying we are, about what side that we are on, because everyone's going to feel how they feel. I just think the conversation was one that should have been had in a better forum, and one that they should have been more prepared for.
We'll just end it like this. That particular topic is a conscious choice for you. Okay. Yep. That is a decision. If you can live with the decision, do it what's best for you. Okay. That's how it goes. I'll give you the same advice my daddy gave me when I came at the crossroads on what to do. I know what it feels like to have one. I know what it feels like to lose one. There's dilemmas on both sides. There's positives on both sides. You have to do what you can live with. If it's going to eat you up inside to do it, don't do it. If it's going to eat you up inside to get rid of it, don't get rid of it. So you got to cross that bridge when you get there and make the decision for yourself. And none of us is going to judge you for it, because we're like in the middle planes. If I ever had to come to that decision again, it was going to be my life over that child. I'll tell you that much. Okay. And that's where it came to in my walk. So you got to do what's good for you.
Yeah, listen, look, it's always an interesting topic, but I think it's one of those important discussion points in terms of relationship, you know what I mean? In terms of having these discussions, and whether you fall on whichever side you fall on, I always say, if you're in a relationship, this is an aspect of conversation. You know what I mean? You should talk to your partner, and whatever you feel is best for you two, that's what you do. Now, I'm sure the Christians are going to get on my ass if I'm not telling them not to do it. But I'm saying, listen, you have to work with what you believe the Lord is telling you. What God has revealed to you, if you're a Christian, that's what is revealed to you. You know what I mean? And remember also at the same time that the law is only serving as a purpose to show us how we've all fallen. But grace is far more important, because it works with the Spirit of the Lord, and which is that each individual person has a relationship with God, and what you have a conversation with God with is what you have a conversation with God with. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's important to first and foremost have that discussion with your partner. Everyone has their beliefs, as well. And I get that there's a fight behind the opinion and the thought, but you have to discuss this with your partner. You know what I mean? And that's what Nancy and our brother Bartise have done. They've just done it at a later stage. Thank God it's before they get married, because had this been a marriage situation, you probably would end up getting a very dangerous stalemate, which can build to resentment. If she does it, resentment. If she doesn't do it, she can resent it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a conversation that has to be had with you from the very beginning about your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs and your values in this area, and especially if culturally context as well. UK, I think there's less of a, I guess, a hard-on tension. I know we have these debates in UK, but I feel like we have less of a hard-on tension. It's almost like politics. You know, we don't have the hard-drawn lines. Someone says, I'm a conservative. Someone might say, well, I'm a Labour. Yeah, there will be some issues, but I can see how, especially in American context, there's a lot of added extras. So culturally, you've got to take that into context as well. You know, into where are you? Like you said, Seaway, where are you? What's what particular land are you in? What are the rules? What are the context of these situations as well? Because that also plays a part in it. But most importantly, have a conversation, and maybe one day we could actually have a discussion about this real conversation about having to look after children who are disabled. Because yeah, let me tell you something, you don't know until you don't know. Okay, my little nephews, my little siblings get my nerves. Let alone if I had to look after them for the next 18, 24 years, whatever, how long they would live by the grace of God, and you're solely responsible for them. So there's a whole bunch of things that get taken into this conversation, which I would say to that every person, have grace for people. You know what I mean? If you really, especially if you're someone of faith, have grace. You may not agree with the decision someone's made, but have grace. You know what I mean? You were gonna say something, Jay?
No, I'd rather say something to Seaway, but I went to the backtrack. So I was like, I see a gold highlight on this side. Hello, Seaway, you got my highlights on? I was like, I see some gold fleck. I was like, oh, no,
I like
on
that
your
picture.
hair, in your
Oh
hair.
yeah.
Way, okay.
I'm gonna switch up some color if I don't do nothing else.
All right. I was like, oh, okay. Bring me home.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know, JR, do you have anything else to say before we shift on? Sorry, I didn't ask you.
I was just gonna say, like, the strength of the conversation that they have in America is almost as strong. In fact, it's probably as strong in Ireland. Like, we don't really have that level of um, how can I say, attention to it in the UK.
Yeah.
But in Ireland, it's a very big conversation, yeah, because of the religious split. So yeah, it's not an ideal situation, but what is? But you know that if you do make the decision to have children, then there is a possibility that they could have impairments, disabilities, etc. And like I said, at this stage, Bartise even bringing it up just sounded a bit weird to me because, as I said, it's very early in the process, and now we know that his head's been turned. Like every time Raven's in the room, he's looking at her. Like, so for me, bad timing and a very big conversation that should have been had in the pod.
Absolutely. All right. Let me see my notes. Sorry, let me make sure because I think there was one more thing of Bartise and Nancy that might have been not been said about their situation. Oh, sorry, apologies. No, I think that's all I've been said. I think Bartise and their conversation, Andy. Oh, what was it? Nancy and Andrew. Sorry, apologies. Nancy and Andrew. What's your thoughts on the Nancy and Andrew conversation? Because that was interesting as well. Andrew more listening than anything, and Nancy kind of just spilling her guts out to Andrew in a drunken tirade. I want to know what's your thoughts. Seaway's already got her mic open. She's ready to go. Talk to me.
They need to put, they're getting these people drunk
Yeah,
and having them look crazy. And every season I'm seeing that. And now because it's like, they're breaking the fourth wall with this, I'm aware. And I was like, yo, Nancy is slurring her words. She's completely drunk and the producers are not slick. Because I can't even break down that conversation because I know that she was heavily intoxicated. All I did get from it is that she was going through a lot of pain dealing with this Bartise situation. And when she saw Andrew and he asked her a question, everything came out. That's all I can get from it. And that they need to stop getting these people drunk for ratings. That's what I got.
Yep, definitely hear you on that. But I will say this: she don't get a pass. she don't get a pass
Well,
because
pass for
also,
what? What'd she do wrong?
what do you mean? Spilling your guts out to the wrong person. You need to be spilling your
Bartise
guts to
don't
your
care. Bartise,
therapist, your pastor, or your Bartise. Because it don't
Bartise
need to be
don't want her
Andrew.
though. Do it matter?
It does matter. It doesn't matter whether he wants her or not. She shouldn't be spilling her guts to him. You remember, if someone goes low, you don't go low with them because then it puts you in the same boat. Then we're all dirty. You know what I mean? Now, if now they can throw it back in your face, be like, well, you did what you did. It's like you don't want to be in that space. So that conversation should have been reserved for her conversation with her pastor, her ex-husband, no, Jake, her pastor, her, whatever therapist, coach, whatever, and Bartise and her mum or whatever. That's it. But a party who's actually invested in you, who was invested in you, that wasn't the right kind of conversation to have with that person, irrespective. So, unfortunately, she doesn't get a pass because she was drunk. Because Bartise told her in the drunk aspect too, when he was drinking that day too, he was a little bit, and he told her the truth about Raven. I ain't giving him a pass. So they all gonna get some smoke tonight. I'm so sorry,
Wait,
Seaway.
do y'all agree with Kojo? Y'all thought that conversation was inappropriate? Please let me know.
No need to.
Let me know if I'm wrong. Because I didn't think that was inappropriate. Maybe I missed something.
I'm not saying it's as bad as
Put a poll up. I want to know. I thought
Listen,
Kojo wrong. He be wrong.
it's not as bad.
to me, your other interests, I don't know if that's the right person to do it because we already see how that's going with the other couples who has done it. So this could be easily manipulated into something else. But for the fact that she did say, I don't feel like I made the wrong choice before she started going down that path. It's like totally like I'm drunk and my guts are spilling out right now. And whoever's here to hear it, I need you to hear it. Somebody needs to hear it or whatever. Yeah, I'll let RJ go since we're on this topic, and then I'll come back to where I do find Bartise to be honorable in his truths or whatever. But go ahead, JR, because I said this already on this one.
Yeah, Andrew to me looks like he's ready to pounce. His face lit up when he heard that information. So, like, the thing is, she wants someone to listen to her, right? She's obviously in pain after hearing what Barty said. So, for me, Andrew being in that place at that time, and we do know that they serve drinks to get you to loosen your inhibitions. And in some cases, it loosens the tongue as well. So she needed someone to talk to. He was there to listen, skinning teeth like a Cheshire cat while she was feeding him the information. And he likes her. So, and like I said, she must feel a sense of rejection from Bartise. So, dangerous situation. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of it, to be honest.
Yep. I mean, I'm not saying her thing is as bad as Bartise, by the way. It's not necessarily equatable in sense of, oh, you did this, you did this. It's more of a case of this is it's poor choice, right? Imagine your partner says to you, I was spilling my guts to my ex. You're gonna be looking at, what the fuck were you doing talking to your ex? Right? Why were you talking to her about our relationship with your ex? It's a violation on the relationship, and actually it opens a door for Mr. Andrew or any other brother who could be as sneaky as I would be with dark arts to enter your relationship. I only need one problem from you before I make that problem a whole bunch of problems, because now I'm gonna be like, oh, so that's what happened. Oh, tell me more. What else happened? So this happened. So is that how it usually is? And I am going to tear a hole like the size of a black hole, which I don't know how big it is, but it's big. And I'm going to enter through that space. So you don't want to give anybody. It's more of a case of don't give the devil a foothold to enter a relationship by inviting him into the space he need not be in. So she should still spill her guts, but not spill it to Andrew. Spill it to someone. She could spill it to one of the other guys. Would have been better, you know what I mean? I mean, I still wouldn't advise that, but it would have been better to split it to someone who doesn't have ties to your relationship in the sense of past realms. That's what we're saying. So it's not the same, but we're saying is that you don't want to go down that particular road. Jay, go for it.
I agree, especially the way he was smiling during that whole conversation. I was like, "Oh, Andrew, knock it off." But I was gonna go back to Bartise with her family. I do love his honesty at some times or whatnot, especially when the family sat there and asked him, would you still love her if she was 400 pounds and all these things like that? It's like, come on. Let me be honest with y'all right now in this moment. No, sure will not. Okay. And it's like that. I love that. I'm glad he didn't lie. I don't know if I'm frozen on my end, so I don't know if you guys still hear me, but like I'm glad he didn't lie in that moment and just go with it or whatnot. So I commend him for his honesty, but at sometimes it's just too much. He needs to shut up. He needs to know when he needs to be honest and when he needs to just be quiet. And that comes with maturity. He is still kind of young, so he'll get that slight pass for it. But after you have a whole drunk conversation with the boys, you don't need to go back and tell your girls what was all said in that moment or whatnot. But being honest with the family, well, I still love her. And there's no, because I'm a fitness type dude. No, I wouldn't. That I respect that honesty because it's like my standards are my standards. But and then I was like, you looking around at the family and you kind of see it. They not little people either. So I don't know. Just encourage her to stay in the gym with you, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's another thing, Jay. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Men will look at your family. Well, I can let the men comment on this. If they see your mama big and your sisters in them big and they don't want a big girl, they will judge you. And I'm happy that he was honest about that 400 pounds because a lot of people be lying, talk about, I love you at 400 pounds. No, they won't. No, they won't. So people just need to tell the truth, shame the devil. I know he was looking at that family. He's like, these people do not care about fitness. I'm just saying.
Yo, Joe, what's your thoughts to what Sue
Not what's your thoughts, JR.
It's too funny. It's the fact she said it behind her screen. That's what made it so funny. But
because I'm eating a jerk chicken. I'm trying not to be like you, folks. I'm eating a jerk chicken.
I know, but it was just so funny the way you said it. It just came out of the darkness and said, "Yep, these fellas."
Because my brothers are telling me, like, everybody know, they will tell you that, like, the dudes who super care about fitness, like, they would be like, "Dag, if this how dudes talk, they be like, oh, if I get her 2 kids, it's gonna be over with." Like, that's how they talk. That's in Chicago. That's how they talk. 2 kids, she's over with. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I mean, yeah, there is that whole thing about fitness being important to guys who are in fitness themselves, but no, like there are some exceptions to the rule, right? And so I wouldn't categorize all gym guys as being only appreciative of like the fit girls. But what I wanted to say was when I saw Nancy with Andrew and she was giving him all that info on her relationship and everything else, it kind of made me just remember that Bartise was fleshing out a lot of information from SK, right? Trying to find out a lot about Raven and what he's been doing with her and how far they are in their relationship. And again, it's problematic. You're like, why are you doing that, bro? Well, I know why he's doing it, because, like I said, if given the opportunity, that dude is going to make a move. Like, even though Raven says she's not feeling him, I don't think that's going to stop Bartise from trying, because he's too on it, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that when you have a situation where someone's upset, like Raven is, and about what she's discussing, what she's disclosing, someone like Andrew, the way he was smiling, it just gave me the impression that he is ready to pounce, right? And I also have to say that you can't blame it on the alcohol. She wanted to talk to someone, and this is weighing heavy on her, which is why she disclosed it. So I don't think it would have been appropriate for her to necessarily disclose it to another guy on the show. But because as we've spoken about on other shows, things can get messy. People can be messy. If you give people the wrong information, they can use it as ammunition, right? So, yeah, for me, I just think that Nancy and Bartise, they need to have a conversation, serious conversation about where they go from here. Because there's a couple of important things that have come up so early, and the attraction is not as felt as he is for Raven. So, yeah, moving mad.
Yo, hey, the comments are killing me, sorry, bro. Comments are killing me with this topic. Listen. Woo, baby. Nah, but I hate what you're saying, bro. Listen, look, let's be honest, guys. Seaway's got a point. Look, it's not that we would not. It's not that we don't love you. I don't think that's the right terminology. But for some people, physical attraction is a huge thing. A really, really big thing. And going to the gym is a staying fit. Sorry, is a lifestyle and a culture for some people. Lifestyle and cultures are compatibility issues. I don't think people fully understand that, which is why somebody who doesn't go to the gym or doesn't work out regularly, you have to ask yourself the question: if they get big, are you gonna be okay with that? Because it's not their lifestyle. For people who work out constantly, it's a lifestyle. Like, I've been gymming since I was 17. I've been working out since I was 17. I have not stopped. I'm now 31. That's 14 years I've been working out. I'll find some way to work out. If it's not the gym, when COVID hit, I found a way to work out. I went and got bags. I filled it up with water. I filled bottles up with water, and I started working out with the bags. I found some type of way because it's important to stay fit for me. It's a culture and it's a lifestyle. So it becomes a compatibility issue, and whether somebody wants to actually be existent in that lifestyle, which is why it's important again. Now, saying someone got to 400 pounds, I don't think you understand how big 400 pounds is. That's not a joke. Okay, 400 pounds is heavy. Okay, so at that point, we've got a systematic issue here. It's the food, it's the non-exercising. Probably there might even be depression involved here. Like, to go astronomically that big, that's a huge thing. Okay, all right. That's not including pregnancy. We're talking about just going that size. That's a huge thing, and so that's a big change, And I think that's the same for both men and women. If you are a man and you were into fitness, heavy culture, and and you suddenly swell up, my fam, you know what I mean? You can't do that to a lady. You know what I'm saying? The lady's also got to see you as she was seeing you before. You know what I mean? All right. AW said, not gonna lie, the gym is non-negotiable for me. Exactly. Have some type of working out. It's like those people have got lifestyle and culture, Go for jail.
I was gonna say, and that's part of the reason why Bartise likes Raven as well, because they're both in the fitness industry like that, right? They both have that mindset. Because let's be real, maintaining a lifestyle is also to do with mindset. And like you also said, there are other factors why people can gain weight. Could be depression, could be insecurities, could be some other type of trauma that they've had, or an addiction to eating more than the required amount for their daily consumption and not being active enough. Some people just are very sedentary due to work, come home, don't have time, don't make time. And, in the world we live in now, having me time, quality time for yourself, most people do go to the gym. Some people find other ways to do it. Some people just do yoga or Pilates or some other forms. But yeah, so I can see why some people will say, yeah, like 400 pounds is a lot and but there's often reasons behind it why it's gotten to that extent. And these changes can be undone, but it takes a mindset of discipline and dedication to start off with. And then when the times get tough and you don't feel like going to the gym and or it might be a rainy day and you might get wet and you don't want to ruin your hair, or whatever the case may be, still go, because that's part of your routine. That's part of your mindset that will get you to lose that weight or stay maintaining the physique you've got, right? So someone also put in the comments just a second ago, like, why be on a show called Love is Blind if physical is so important to you? I mean, at the end of the day, that comment is correct. But remember, they're in a process where they don't get to pick and choose what the person looks like. They have to, once they made that choice, they have to deal with the cards that they're dealt. So yeah, you can't be too overly critical of someone else's physical, because it can change. It just takes the dedication or the right motivation to get there.
Definitely hear you on that. Definitely hear you on that. All right. Yeah, I think we've spoken about Andrew and Nancy. Let's talk about the conversation between Bartise and Raven, because he was the other half of the situation. Bartise had a conversation with Raven. You know, it got tasty. You know, and he shared some things about how he felt about Raven. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that situation. How do you feel about the Bartise Raven conversation? JR, you can go first for me.
Well, I would just say that Raven wasn't feeling Bartise after the pool conversation, and she said it in her confessional. You know, the problem is that he overly likes her, and she has seen that from a mile away that it's not for the reasons that she wants it to be. And I think the fact that he chose not to go with her from the pod, she's gonna make him resent. You know, she seems like the type of personality to make him resent that choice. All right, and she, like I said, SK seems to be a lot more rounded and looking for someone more deep, a connection more in depth, right? And yeah, so the conversation with Bartise, I think he again was just trying to match. You know, yeah, we got the same fitness aspiration, we got the same putting all the similarities. Dude, it's too late now, bro. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, she's not feeling you, and I hope that she does like air him out, not in a mad way where it causes conflict, but just say, look, you've chosen who you've chosen. I'm with who I'm with, and I'm just gonna give it a go from here.
Yep. Jay, do you wanna jump on talking about Bartise and Raven, their conversation?
Yeah, JR had reminded us earlier that she did want somebody that see her for more than just looks or whatnot. And so when Bartise comes up to her with, "Oh, you look good, and you are the type of person I would date, and in the real world they would see us as this couple and that the third," that's everything she don't want. So not only were you not listening in the pod, I mean, she was not listening in the pod, you weren't either. Yes, you guys bonded over working out and a couple of other things, but that quickly did you forget why you cut her off? And granted, SK is a default choice because it did bother her that you cut her off, but she wasn't really feeling you anyway. You forgot all that speech that she gave you at the end of it when she said there, well, I wasn't going to go with you either, and this, and the third, and all that. You forgot all that quickly because you've seen her in this little white outfit. So it's like, sir, she's kind of reading through your BS right now, and she's not feeling it. Because, yes, she's used to men like you approaching her on a regular and not really living up to what it is. So... And another thing, if I was a woman, and if I'll say Raven in this case, you coming up to me after you done shut me down, or while you have a girl, and you're saying this and the third, that's a turn off for me, because next time you see the next thing that looks better than me, you're going to do the same thing to me. That's how I just look at it. So that would have been another red flag. I don't know if that's how she's seen it as well, but for me, definitely like, no, I'm good. And I'm kind of, like I said, I was kind of shocked that she kind of didn't say anything to like appease him just a little bit, but that's just part of her personality. Like, yeah, no, I'm off you. So moving on, I'm going to make it work. And I was glad to actually, segue into her and SK. I was glad to actually see that when she let that part of her go, she was actually able to open up to SK a lot more. So I think she was holding on to it for a bit until he came and opened his mouth. And she was like, yeah, no, I think I made a more better choice for myself by choosing SK. So I was actually kind of glad that she started to give SK his fair opportunity from that point on.
Yeah, I think Raven just wants somebody with money. I think it's kind of that simple. And Bartise doesn't really flatter her much, talking about how cute she is. Her being cute, she knows that already. She'll need him to tell him. She don't need for him to tell her that. She knows she's cute, and cute ain't getting her bills paid, so she'll need to hear that. She wants somebody with a bag. The only problem is SK must have been the closest one to a bag on that in their options, because I would have never picked somebody who finna head of school for another 2 years. I mean, he must have been the best selection, because that's not even getting to the bag right away. So I'm a bit confused by that. But I was happy that she shut Bartise down. It wasn't flattered by him, saying she's cute or whatever. And I think it's most likely because she knows that already.
Thanks, UA. JR?
Yeah, I'll agree with Seaway there. Like, she's heard all that, you're pretty, you're cute. She probably heard that a million times, right? So he didn't come with anything new and exciting, to engage in a real conversation other than the superficial, the visual, right? And let's face it, why should he do that? Because he's already with Nancy and she's with SK. So the fact of the matter is, he's pursuing her hard. Like, the type of conversation that he was having with her is like basically trying to turn her head towards him away from SK. Because I do think he feels like he's better than SK. I do think he has this impression that, like, that ain't gonna work. Look at me, look at him. But bro, you had your chance and you scuffed it. And like Jay said, you both said that you weren't going to choose each other anyway. So he's got to live with it now, man. There's no going back now. Like, if he does do anything mad now, it'll just drop a bombshell in the experiment. So he's made it clear he likes her. He's made it clear to his partner that he likes Raven. So you need to reel back now. Serious. That fleshing out of information that he was doing with SK, that was too mad. Like, because SK is unsuspecting. That's the thing. He doesn't know. So yeah, I'm not feeling the way Bartise is acting at all. Like, not feeling it at all. Can't lie. Raven, I know she may not be feeling SK physically, but like I said, in terms of who might be better for her, is someone that is more well-rounded and will look past the looks. So that's a starting point. And we had a conversation a few days ago about women growing into love, or growing to love the person they're with, instead of instantly being attracted to them. This may be one of those instances where Raven appreciates things about SK because he's coming at her different to how Bartise is coming to her. So yeah.
Yeah. So obviously Bartise and Raven. Listen, Bartise is a whole clown. First and foremost, he don't know nothing about dark arts. I'm disappointed in him. very disappointed. You do not approach that conversation and show your old ass and what cards you're holding. You know what I mean? You do not do that. That's number one rule. Now she has something she can hold against you and say to your missus, you are silly. Silly, 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 silly. You do not approach that kind of conversation in that particular way. First of all, he's wrong in general. He's disrespectful. That's just the reality of it is. Because the level of conversation he had with Raven was stupid. Like, bro, what are you doing? Right? You basically have basically just said to your girl, she ain't, you've deplatformed your girl basically by having this conversation with Nancy. It's like, it's giving I've settled and come and save me. I thought this only happened in Tyler Perry's Sisters, but no, clearly this happens in real life because that's exactly what he's done here. It's like, look, I don't have to marry her. Just say the word, Raven. Just say the word, Raven, and I promise you, I will turn the whole play upside down. Like literally, that's where he was, Bartise, with and the consistent compliment about how good she looked. It's like, sorry, apologies. The consistent compliments of how good she looks, like, bro, and the compliments you're even given is given very much, I'm about to worship you. Like, bro, you said it once, leave it alone. Okay, you said it once, you haven't got a buy-in. She hasn't said it back to you like, you know what, you're a good-looking guy. She didn't even say that to you, so you haven't even got a buy-in at this point. You know what I mean? And then she actually parred him off. I don't know if you guys actually heard what she said. She said, because when he tried to say like we'd make a good couple or whatever, she was like, yeah, she's like, I can't remember I don't have my notes with me. I wish I had it. It's on my other phone. She basically said something in return, which literally was basically saying, no, we wouldn't be that great. Okay, like you don't see things the way I see them. And I was like, oh, so and because you showed all your cards, you should have coaxed her into that conversation, sir. She'll coax her. You could have asked her, where are you standing at the moment? What's going on with you in SK? Like, is it working? Is it what you expected? You know what I'm saying? Like, you coax that conversation. You drop some bars in that a little bit later on in the conversation, but you don't be starting off with the whole, you look good, you look pretty, and then every time you're talking, it comes back to, oh my gosh, just how good looking you are. She knows. She knows because your eyes are telling her, bro. Okay, women are experts at knowing what the heck we're giving them. You need to not say anything. You'd have been better off not saying anything. You know what I mean? Letting your eyes do the talking and then having a real conversation with her and be like, okay, I just want to see where you're at. Okay, cool. But no, instead you showed your whole tail. And I just think that's just, unfortunately, I think Bartise may have misread, I think, where the leagues are. I don't think Raven feels she's in Barty's league. I know they both get girls and she gets guys, whatever. I think he thought we're in the same league because we spoke about the fact that we both get opposite sex. I think when Raven saw him, she said, okay, he's my type in terms of physique, but in terms of the face, I mean, you ain't that much better. You thought you was doing something. We're not in the same league. That's why her response was actually so colder. You can't chat the way you're chatting and act as if you're actually that fine. You weren't that fine to me. So, yeah, I honestly don't think she found Bartise to be of any particular level. I think he was normal. That's the kind of guys that she probably rejects on a normal daily basis. Like, you average to her. And you acted a whole fool by showing your ass thinking that you were better than you actually were. You should have done some recon. Shame on you, Bartise. Shame on you. Shame on your behavior. But, guys, he shouldn't be doing that in the first place. That's bad behavior. Bad behavior. Okay, go for it, Sue.
I mean, I hear a lot of men, they comment on how women are delusional because we want these unicorns. But, again, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. He started his platform talking to delusional men. That's where his platform began, talking to delusional men like Bartise. And I'm glad you said it and I didn't have to say it. But some people, they don't know what is it, their sexual marketplace value. Bartise is shooting above, he's shooting above. And I think he was humbled real quick. Because again, like Jay and I have been saying, Bartise, he got nice body, yeah. But for women, it's like you're 25 and your money ain't long enough, bruh. Your money is not long enough. And that's where our conversation begins. All this other stuff you talking about We don't even care about that stuff. And you're not swaggy, and you're frustrating, and you're goofy. Please know your place in the marketplace, okay? And I'm glad Raven let him know. We're doing too much.
We'll see what say. Know what shelf you belong on, please. Thank you. Know what aisle you belong to, sir. Please go back to your aisle.
Now, Andrew was goofy for playing with them eye drops, but Andrew may be the swaggiest Asian I have personally ever seen. Andrew was Andrewing, okay? But Bartise, no sir. But Andrew, I need more time with Andrew on my screen. That's all. Nancy should have did that for us, but Nancy played in our face, so.
It would have been worse for her if she chose Andrew. She saved her life.
Well, it's gonna be worse for her, period. So she could have at least let us look at Andrew. She's gonna get played regardless. So we would have preferred to look at Andrew. I speak for all women, and we would have preferred Andrew. Andrew's better.
I speak for all women.
I speak for the women delegation, and we would have preferred Andrew. And that look, when he came in with that three-piece,
pissing me right off.
Talking about his traveling adventures, I was like, Andrew,
I speak for the women. We are the women delegation. Vote like Andrew.
We vote Andrew.
We trade Bartise for Andrew.
We trade Bartise for Andrew and his nice suit selection.
Tell me more.
I've been flying across the world. I've flown across the world. Yeah, I've seen many places. You know,
wait.
While he's swirling his drink.
How you smell your wife?
Oh. He said, if you don't get on this boat, you're gonna miss out. He said, you know what?
I've been traveling, baby.
I've been traveling.
Andrew had me feeling away through the screen. I almost hit the flow. I was like,
I said, this is a killer right here. This brother said,
for real, and will bury your body anywhere.
He do look like he'll put you in a suitcase for real. How you all
smile with a sexy smile on his face.
You're gonna have a good time when you get folded up in that suitcase. You're gonna make sure you have a good time. We would have preferred that over Bartise. Only thing Bartise gave me is what Jay said. That last line, Kojo, you need to put it on a t-shirt. Everybody right, everybody a little bit right, and everybody a little bit wrong. I said, Bartise, you finally done said something. I was like, everybody is right. And everybody
y'all is wrong.
All y'all. Like, Bartise. That's an aha moment for me. That was the realest thing he ever said. I was like, you know what? All right, Bartise, you can stay on the show. That was a good line. For that line alone, you got it.
My boy.
Bartise.
Bartise indeed. Any other thoughts on the Bartise Raven situation? Any other thoughts before we shift it? You know what we didn't talk about whilst we were talking about Nancy is talking about the this ex-boyfriend thing with the whole housing situation.
You just read my mind, Kojo. I was like, we breezed right past the baby daddy.
I brought it up.
Baby daddy on the mortgage. We breezed right
baby daddy on the mortgage.
Yo, that was wild.
Nancy did the women dark arts, Kojo. You know, when you say we don't have accountability, women do stuff like this. We will conveniently leave out some really important details and pretend like it ain't important. Ma'am, you got this man on all your mortgages. You holding on tight, don't want to let go, but ain't paying for it. You want to move another dude into a man's house, or you want to have a house that another dude's on the mortgage, Nancy.
Not only that, the chat reminded me she the one who sat there and got 50 eggs or plus out there in the world, but she over here having this conversation about a child being some type of special. So I'm like,
but why does she want to disclose that and not the fact that her baby daddy ex-boyfriend is on the mortgages?
Because that's an automatic check off. Heifer, you still got ties.
That should be the disclosure. You disclosing that you got your eggs everywhere is just weird, but you need to disclose that you got your ex-boyfriend on all these freaking properties. That's more important, Nancy. Not where your eggs are located. Not your eggs. Not your UPS eggs. No. Why is this man on all these mortgages? And why you ain't with this man? Go back to him. Leave Bartise alone. Go back to that.
That's why, because they know everybody gonna ask that question to her. If she sit there and disclose that information, they're gonna say, well, why are you not still with him? Because you still tied up with him somehow.
That's what I was about to say. Like, it's a way of keeping the ex close. You're tied in legally together with properties and things like that. And we know that she's into that game, like flipping houses and stuff. So it's a safety net in a way. She's got him to fall back on, or she's still tied to him so that at some point in time in the future, you never know, right? If the chemistry is still there.
That's a whole problem. That's a whole problem on both sides. Like if a man was to do this, we'd be shooting him all left, right, center, or whatever and stuff like that. You still got ties to it. As a woman, that's a whole problem still. Don't no man want to sit here. Yeah, don't no man want to sit here and know that you still got ties to your ex, especially talking about, oh, we got this property together and this, and on top of it, you lied about it. I'm sorry, withholding information is still a form of a lie. So you lied about it.
Information that he's bound to find out. Because Terry, you're right. She wouldn't have got engaged if she would have disclosed that. But since you're on the path to disclosing, you should have just kept all your mess to yourself. But since you're disclosing, you kind of need to disclose stuff that's going to come up later. I'm big Sag energy. I will take stuff to the grave. I believe in all that. But you can't take stuff to the grave that you can't take to the grave. At some point, Bartise was going to have to know that you got your baby daddy ex-boyfriend on all of these mortgages.
Now, I'm wondering if she did this C-way as a little get back for him disclosing everything. You know,
maybe why did the producers was probably being messy having him go to that house, and then for them to stand in that man's house and be like, I'm not even a man, that would have bothered my ego. Like, you got me standing in another man's house, literally. Like, I am standing in another man's house. Like, that's wild.
She just kind of was like casually like, oh, yeah, I mean, I just didn't really tell you or whatever. I was like, oh, I don't know if you being petty or you just really being like blonde right now. I don't know what's happening.
Nancy might be touched by an angel too. She may have to go with it.
I told you, as soon as you like somebody, you jump off a cliff, they push you right off a cliff. You're like, oh, I can't. Every last one of these couples.
No, it's wild for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. She I mean, listen, I'm not even mad at her. You know what? It's the game's the game. Chalk it to the game. Okay, charge it. You know what I mean? But I think C-Way said it best. You cannot take things to the grave that you can't take to the grave. It makes no sense. Mortgages, like things like this are like just stupid, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like having debts too. Like certain debts you don't tell a person, it's gonna come up. And if you go for a mortgage, if you go for some application, it's going to come up. You cannot hide these things that are tangible. Okay, so the fact that she was sitting there, comfy, saying yeah no. I mean, he's on the mortgage, and he's like, and then he's asking him, so are you paying for it? I'm not paying for it. No. And then, what, do you get any profits from it? No, I don't get any profit from it. So why is your name still on the mortgage? I'm so confused. What are you doing? It's so confusing. It's like, oh, I understand they may have to recalculate the mortgage, whatever. If your name is taken off it, it's no longer two forms of income. But baby, you're not getting any income from it. You know what I mean? The only person you're doing a favor for is your boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. That's it. No one else is getting a favor for. It's just your ex-boyfriend you're doing a favor for. So I get it. It's not a straightforward situation. What she should have been saying is that I'm getting out of it now. Like, I've started the process. We started detangling. Sis was like, no, just, no, like, I don't pay for it.
I'm going to say devil's advocate on the situation. If it's for credit purposes, being that her family was it her family that was big on the credit, making sure your credit right and all that? Okay, so if it's for credit purposes, I get why her name is on it, because I know my sister has done this with my aunt. My aunt has put her on the house so she can get her house credit to buy her house or whatnot. So if it's for those purposes, I can see. But still forward, you should have been honest in the beginning with it or whatever, because that's a simple thing. Like, hey, I'm on this person's thing so my credit can build up, so I can have house credit, so I can get more properties down the line, because that is her goal, to have more properties. So I can see it for that purposes. But you lying about it, that's a whole nother thing. You omitting it, that's a whole nother thing, because you lied about who this person was in your life, how involved they were in the situation, and you omitted all the extra details that needed to be said. So like C-Way say, if you can't go to the grave, well, you should have been up and front about it, because that's simple. Credit purposes. He's helping me build my line of credit still. And so I have to stay on this for whatever reason, especially if I'm not getting no income or nothing back from it. That's the only reason I can see you doing it.
But another red flag that we're missing is Nancy doesn't seem to have a lot of common sense. Why are you going into business with your boyfriend and getting all of this stuff? And I do know that when you're flipping houses, let me caveat that a lot of people do go into these house flips and stuff like that with people. But it just seems really extreme to go into this much entanglement with a boyfriend. It seems like she just like be full speed ahead with no brakes, like no brakes at all. And I'm just like, you're really entangled. Like, you might as well have married that man that has 6 properties with him. Like, to untangle that many mortgages is you literally will have to go to court if you can't do it correctly. That's like a divorce to untangle that many properties with somebody. And she was never married to him. Not saying the marriage would have made it better, probably would have made it more tangled, but still, it just seems like she doesn't think things all the way through, because that's a lot of entanglement for a boyfriend.
No word of lie. I'm hearing you now. Gia, do you have anything to add?
Not really, because like mortgages are a legal thing, right? And you have to go to court, or you have to agree on who gets what property and all these other different things. So to entangle yourself and still be attached to someone in that way is like very problematic for any relationship that you have going forward. So that's all I would add, really.
Was that my sound behind me? I was hearing someone purring or something. I was like,
There's
JR,
some
you got
girl
someone behind you? I said, you got some girl down there behind
There's
you
some
underneath the
girl.
table, bro?
Look, JR smiling
Listen, I need you
big.
to keep it PG. Keep it PG.
Hello.
We live, sir. Keep it PG, sir. I was saying, that's what I heard. I was saying hello. I said, I said, not JR with the girl in the background.
Somebody's flying through. Okay.
I'm breaking these girls' hearts out here.
Y'all think JR the good one. He got people sliding through. Okay.
I throw JR under the bus like this. Should have.
JR even sat back and said, ain't nothing, man.
JR
You know he's listening to a voice note right now.
Hey JR, how you doing?
I see you on that live doing your thing.
Hey JR, it's Sharice. I was just calling you back.
No, that was just a voice note and nothing major. Continue. Carry on.
Carry on.
The world can carry on now.
Carry on. Move along now.
Move on now.
Let me see.
Quickly.
Let me see here. Let me see
Quickly.
here.
Quickly now.
Oh, freaking out. Okay, last oh no, we haven't said last, but before we get into Raven, Cole, I'm gonna go with a foursome. Cole, Colleen, Zainab, and Matt. I know for the different orders, but it's crazy what's happening with these, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's crazy what's happening out here, kids. All right, so let me just put that Cole, Zainab, Colleen, and Matt.
I'm gonna just let C-Way say, because C-Way already know we had these talks already, and she gonna say everything that needs to be said.
I want to know, Matt, Colleen, wagwan for that.
Okay. I don't know if y'all ready, but
Hold on.
Matt, first of all, shout out to this season because this season is giving everything we asked for. Okay, this season has been very entertaining. Matt and Colleen. Matt was not playing no games with Colleen, cutting up that steak. He was not. First of all, I think Matt is low-key black. I want him to do an ancestry.com because Matt, okay, don't be effing playing. Matt does not be playing. Here's the thing. Matt has a lot of insecurities from his last relationship, and he is now matched with a person who needs a lot of attention. And I am concerned for Colleen's safety because I do not believe she is able to control her urge to get this very positive or negative attention. And I back that up because she's the same person who was telling everybody in the pods that she was a ballerina, that she could pussy pop on the fence, that she could do backflips, spin around, bend it over. She was the same person. So she clearly needs a lot of male attention, and it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. When you match that type of person who in her head, I think Colleen does want a good relationship. I think she wants a faithful relationship. I think she wants to be a good person, but I think she also has this side to her that wants to feel like she's beautiful. She wants the male gaze, whatever. And that's not going to work with Matt because Matt looked like he's finna smack her upside her head. And I was really afraid that she was going to get pins up to the wall when Matt was done because Matt ain't trying to be played no more. He said he ain't finna be played no more. But what Matt should have did was seen that Colleen needs this type of attention and he can't trust her. But instead, he want to make up with her and then be mad 2 days later. And that's what I don't like. And I don't know about y'all ladies, but have y'all ever had a man just ruin your day for no reason? Especially these Virgo men. Men will ruin your day for no reason. Matt woke up after he forgave Colleen for her philanderous ways. He should have just let it go if he was going to let it go. Wanted to ruin her day because he had an epiphany. Matt ain't crap for that. He's wrong for that. And if you can't let it go and your ego is bruised, keep that to yourself. Do not ruin somebody's day because you had an epiphany. You should have never let it go. And Zinab and Matt need to stop trauma bonding over them being with someone that they think is above their pay grade, above their sexual place marketplace, and decide to ruin everybody's day. I'm gonna let people talk before I get to Cole and Zinab because it's a whole separate thing. But I think as it relates to Matt and Colleen, just stopping there with Matt and Colleen, Matt is gonna just be mad and he gonna tear his stuff up. And like in the wise words of Bartise, aka Beatrice, that's my new name for him. He was wrong for wilding the way he did. Colleen was also wrong for going to the club and staying out all effing night. But Matt needs to figure out if he can trust her, and if he can't, he needs to let her go because he can't be doing all this rah-rah all day, every day, ruining people's day. That's not going to work.
I'm just going to add on to it. Matt and Zinab are looking for ways out. And I know because this is crap I did when I was in junior high school, fight with you, start fights with you, pick fight with you, so you can leave me. So you can say you're done and leave alone. Unfortunately for Matt, Colleen is crazy and she ain't trying to go no daggone where. And I don't know if that, that's to her detriment or not, but it's not working. You two are track stars and y'all trying to find a way out. And you, like Seaway said, you forgave her. And now here you are letting Zinab talk you right back into being mad. And after the fact, you went and talked to Cole and he confirmed, I made the pass at her. She didn't really respond. So what are you doing? Besides throwing a whole fit when she doesn't come home at 3 a.m. in the morning because she tired of your crap. Yeah, I wouldn't come home either because you're trying to keep me trapped up in a cage and being on your cord, walking on eggshells for you and your fear that you haven't healed yet from your past relationship. That is too much. That's too much to ask from a person. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that you just met. Okay, get it. Yeah, like the shoulders. But seriously though, like, are you serious? And Zanab, you just want somebody on your team so you can go against the fact that Seaway didn't even mention it, but you asked Cole to rate you. So why would you ask for some truth that you're not ready to handle, knowing that this man is just going to keep it all the way 100 with you?
Just like women be going to men's phones and they ain't ready to leave.
Yes.
It's the same stupidity.
Like, if you're not going up and just leave, you don't really need an excuse to leave. Just all you have to say is, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this no more with you, and just go. We can't be mad at you, but you're picking fights just so you can have a reason to go. The man said that woman's a 10. That was enough. If that's enough for you to say, I don't want to deal with somebody that doesn't see me as a 10, then just leave. But stop drawing everybody else into your problems, because that's all you're doing. You're creating a whole new situation when Matt and Colleen was already fine. Now you're creating a whole new situation with them all over again. And you've had this whole talk. Now, who you really should be mad with, though, I'm not going to even lie, is Colleen, because she left out a whole lot of information. When she sat there and told you the replay and all that, she didn't relay what all she said in that. So therefore, you could be mad at her. I would not have a problem with that. And I do agree with a lot of people in the chat. I do personally feel like Zanab is better than Colleen. But when WMs like blondes, they like blondes. When they like a particular aesthetic, they like that aesthetic. And there's nothing you can be the prettiest, baddest, brunette there is. But they like what they like. And a lot of times they're just not going to change from that. But he had also affirmed her when he sat there and told her, I picked a girl named Zanab, not Lily. So I knew what I was doing. And we already know in that culture, names is kind of describe what they look like. And we definitely know Zanab is not usually going to be a blonde chick running around, bouncing around. And, he had his choice with Colleen. She didn't choose him. It is what it is. He knew that she was a ballerina, kind of turned him on a little bit and stuff, but she didn't choose him. He went with what he felt was best for him. That should have been kind of enough for Zanab to say, you know what? I understand that you see her now. That's what you would call a 10 or whatever. That's good to know. But you're committed to me. But they've been kind of picking fights since day one. So since they first got together, there's been little disturbances going on between them two. So I don't know. What the hell? She's in her head a lot about a lot of different things. She told this story. If y'all recall, she told a whole story of how he wasn't speaking to her the next day after they done did whatever they did or whatever. And he's like, I've been trying to talk to you. And she's been giving me this cold shoulder the whole time. And we see it. We kind of see it on the thing where he's responding. He's saying little stuff to her. And she's just like, yeah, whatever. So how are you expecting a person to deal with that? On a real level? That's a lot. We go from having fun and then all of a sudden you giving me the cold shoulder, but you're telling everybody else that I did it to you. That's a problem in itself. So we haven't even got to like the family issues with these people. We haven't even got to the family and they got so many problems just within themselves. So I don't know. At this point, I was kind of like, I want you two to break up so Cole and Colleen can kind of go be with each other. Y'all almost seem like y'all be more fit for each other and everybody can work it out this way. But I don't know.
You know what's confusing to me? When Cole was talking to Zanab's stepmother, I genuinely felt that like he wanted to be with her, like he really seemed like he was being sincere and that this was like a sincere decision for him, and that he was going to guard her heart and all of that, right? But I just don't know how a man who's watched this show, right? That we're on season 3. How am I supposed to believe that you're serious about a woman, but you're going up and you're telling Colleen and other people that she's really not what you want? And you know that at some point she's going to watch this back. And you have not the common sense that God gave you to not keep the fact that you think Colleen is a 10 to yourself. I really struggle with Cole because I feel like he's battling. He has like two personalities. I think there really is part of him that wants Zainab, but then his other behavior is not conducive with a man that actually wants a woman. You know what I mean? Like he's just, you could be the most secure person in the world, and I'm not sure I'm gonna want a man that's dumb enough to tell me to my face that a girl that I can reach out and touch is better than me. You can say Beyonce is better than me. You can say, hey, I like this person, but you are telling me that a person that we literally can see is better than me. I feel like you really ain't taking me seriously like that. So, I mean, Zainab is also kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie, but outside of that, I just really don't know. You know, Kojo, JR, I don't know how y'all place Cole, because to me he's a conundrum because he does two things, and I don't know what to say about it.
Go ahead, B. So you can talk on that, Kojo.
No,
because I was going to talk on some of the positives of their relationship, though, because I don't want to make it seem like it's just all bad. Because, like I said, with each of these couples, you'll be there with them for a second, and then somebody just jumps off a cliff real quick, and you'll be like, "Oh God, dang it!" But I did like when we started off, like I think maybe episode 3 or 4, when they did have their little breakdown. They had agreed to have like conversation and make those remarks, like the chat reminded me that she's very passive aggressive, and so he would just say, "You're being passive aggressive," or whatnot, and vice versa for whatever little thing that he was doing. So I did love that they agreed to have these little bits of communication so they won't have big blow-ups later on, because I think that does work in a relationship very good, to say, hey, you're doing that again. You're being nagging. You're doing this right here, you know, but we are on the same accord that we already know this is what this looks like. You know, we already had this talk. This is what this looked like. But yeah, the rest of this stuff, it's a bit much.
Yeah, listen, I think is, you know what, Zainab and Cole. I don't know what happened and she turned. I don't know if I missed that part. But episode 3, I don't know what happened when he got out of the pods. Something happened. I don't know if she saw something or she's insecure or he said something. I'm not really sure what happened. Someone can comment in the chat. Something happened that made that change for at least Zainab. Oh, sorry, apologies. That happened at least for Zainab. I'm guessing maybe potentially it could have been the whole preference situation. Maybe that was discussed or something like that behind the scenes in terms of his preference, and her not being in alignment with that as well. But then I don't know. Part of me feels like Cole. I think Zainab is sensing Cole correctly, but it's hard to really get the full on read on it. I really don't think he's that invested with Zainab. And I don't mean like not invested. I think he's like 70% sure, 60% sure, 50%. I mean 50% sure. Let me be kind. Let me be no, not be kind. Let me be realistic. 50% sure. I think it swings. I don't think he's fully invested in Zainab. I don't know. It's something odd, and it's just me, my sentiment, my feeling. I'm not going to say that anything I've seen per se, because even a conversation with Colleen, I get it. You know, someone's more your preference or type, whatever. You might have a conversation. He's wrong for doing it, but that's your truth, right? But something just isn't clicking for me, that Zainab is his type, and that he wants Zainab. You know what I mean? So I'm a little bit on the fence of Cole and Zainab in that instance as well. So, yeah.
I'd say maybe he was 90% coming out of the pods. Dropped down to maybe 70 after that morning where they just was disconnected from each other. And then it probably went all the way down to 50 when he's seeing Colleen. You know, it's just a combination of a bunch of things for him. I think he probably would have dropped down a bit if he'd have just seen Colleen and he didn't have those other interactions with Zane that he did, like he did, or whatever. Because, you know, if we go from having a good night and then we just go cold on each other the next day, that's a weird feeling. And I kind of seen him trying, even though she said that he turned away, and it could have been in an instant where he didn't cuddle, he just got up or whatever she said he did, because we didn't get to see none of that part. But it was like the rest of the day he's trying to make amends for whatever he's sensing she's going through, but she was just like extra cold from that point. So that's hard on a man or a woman when you feel that from somebody. So it's a bit of them both, just I think in their own way with the other. You know, like Seaway said, it might be some insecurities on her part that she has, and they could have had that conversation earlier. Would he value, you know, finds attractive, and who are your connections in the pod? I don't know what they talked about that night, but it's like, how do you go from being freaky to now we're over here? I just don't get it, unless the ex was bad.
They said they did it like 4 times. I think, I guess I don't know what that means though, but I think she sensed something. She had that women intuition, and I think she knew something was off. And I think it was confirmed. Like, sorry, I didn't catch the name, but somebody said in the chat about the makeup thing, when he said, "Oh, she looked better with, you know, she looked different without her makeup," and then he just kept piling on and piling on. I mean, I definitely sensed that she had just as bad a vibe as he did, you know, but I think there was stuff that we just didn't see. And, you know, I think they both just start digging holes, deeper holes. Because when she finally got to the point of asking, what will you rate me? It's like, okay, now you're really like, I think she asked that because she just wanted that, like you said, Jay, that final confirmation that she can, you know, like abort mission. Because what did she expect him to say? She knew what he was going to say.
Yeah, you know, I think, and I see people are making some really good points as well, on the audience as well. I think, you know, and there's also another a part as well. You know, I do feel like Zaina potentially also is insecure as well in the situation. You know, when you know you're a bad B, there's a way you react. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to me, Zaina is a really attractive woman. I mean, not my type. You know, I like my chocolate sisters. But you know, she's a bad B. She got a nice look on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she got the curve as well. I like the curve. You know, so she needs to believe in that. You know, and so without that belief, you know, it makes it even easier when something's said to take it in a negative light. You know what I mean, as well, and take it wrongly. But yeah, I feel like also that can play an impact on the other person too. You know, for Cole, he could be thinking, you know what, maybe you are pretty, but then, you know, that down on yourself energy can be a problem. Saying that, ain't it ain't gonna get no better if he gets Colleen. Okay, Colleen ain't no different to Zainab in that particular front. Colleen is just as insecure, you know, as Zainab, if not more, and will need constant reassurance. And maybe he'll feel like he can give it to her because he will find her attractive the way he likes her. But reality is, there ain't no much difference in their insecurity in that regard for me. So yeah, you know, I need, I think, you know, Zainab's situation. Oh yeah, her parents weren't there, was she? Her parents had passed. She's with her stepmother, isn't it? Stepmother at the moment. So her parents have passed. That can affect her as well. Yeah, you know what? I think there's a confidence issue here, and she needs to get confident with it, because that makes a big difference to, especially as well, how people react to you as well. You know, so that's one issue as well. So yeah, but I do understand her frustration with, you know, Cole and Colleen having that conversation. I personally think it's one of those conversations that shouldn't be had, but it's had. She's alright, you know. I mean, you know, I like dark chocolate, so this really ain't appealing to me.
I'm saying, but if you're gonna be on IG like an IG baddie, I need you to have the confidence. I mean, she looks great here.
That's true, but she probably
I mean,
isn't
look at
as
this.
confident as a picture say. baby, listen, pictures don't tell the whole
But
story. They show you.
but like they said, she's been raised in a certain family, and if this certain family has a bunch of beautiful blondes or whatever, she's always
true.
comparing herself to that type of thing. Like insecurities derive from a number of reasons. So if she's been around a school where she's predominantly the only brunette or whatever in her class, and everybody else is getting picked around her, that that builds on the insecurity. So maybe there's something we would have to dig deeper with her to figure out why she's comparing herself to Colleen. Because I think personally, and I know a lot of people in the chat already agree, that she looks better than Colleen. A lot better. But like I say, WMs like what they like. People like what they like. Kojo, you like what you like. You're not going to choose her over a dark-skinned sister. So it's just like, it is what it is. Like,
yeah, look, we've been lectured by the men to stop telling them what they supposed to like.
I mean, subjective. I think Colleen looks better, but it's subjective. It depends on what you want, what style you like.
You only like them splits. Them splits look better.
I mean, that's a plus.
People like the Colleen body.
Well,
that too, and I think she's got this eyes.
Nice
she's got those eyes like, oh. She's got those eyes like, oh. So maybe that's also as well. Those cute eyes.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Either way, yeah, exactly. Either way, they're not in the two distant leagues together, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, there's something deeper there. I think also with Matt and Colleen as well. I'll be honest with you. Look, I get where Matt was coming from, the frustration. He just went a little bit too far. I needed him to regulate himself a little bit, I get it, because what it was is that you made decisions on feelings that were going to be permanent rather than waiting to cool down. I'm not saying that you don't get into an argument, I'm not saying you can't have your frustration. It was just that in that moment, it just felt like, bro, everything was happening from the past was coming to fruition. But and also because this was the first time we've kind of seen any madness from Colleen. So it's not like you've seen 1, 2, 3 issues. It was literally just one conversation between Colleen and Cole, which I understand too. You don't want to be played. You don't want to marry somebody who's going to try and play you. I totally get it. It's your life. I just want you to maybe look at the fact that maybe your reaction could be also trauma-based, and it could be that you're feeling some trauma from the past relationship in terms of how you deal with certain things as well. So yeah, I think Matt, in regards to Colleen, I would say this though, the initial issue, and that's why I said you can't say that's why sometimes you don't have to drop it. Sometimes say, hey, look, I haven't dropped it. I'm still on it. I'm still feeling it. We're going to talk about this later on. Rather than saying you're done with it and then come back full force Hurricane 5 again, whipping up another storm. You know what I mean? Because she did tell half a truth, Colleen. Like, she told the girls one part of the story, and then Zainab had to go to Matt and find a different part of the story, and it was like Matt got blamed for it, but Cole got blamed for whatever he had said. But the reality was, Colleen was half telling the truth about what she had said or whatever he had said or whatever. So in that regard, then too, I also start looking at her a little bit suspect, like, yo, baby, you don't be telling the truth, so you can't really be trusted either. You told the girls one thing to kind of maybe save a bit of face, but the reality is that you said a bit more than that, so it's okay. We see you, but we now know, we now know. Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys, to this aspect? No? Cool. Let's move on to the last couples then, because that's the one I wanted to talk about. SK and Raven. SK and Raven. Now, there's some interesting points on this situation, which I will take into consideration. I do believe, first and foremost, SK, if you are going to school, this shouldn't have been the show you were going on because you're about to get married, and this is inappropriate. And also, it puts someone in a particular position as well, right? They're now forced to try and work around that particular aspect. So for me, unless you already met that person, already knew you, had history, you got on a brand new show to be part of this. I know it was a last minute thing. I don't think he thought he was gonna get through or whatever whilst he was doing schooling, but you got through and you accepted it. You shouldn't have. He said, actually, I'm going to school, and this will be quite awkward for me to now try and be on a show where I'm going to be moving. So I, first and foremost, got to say that about SK. And then secondly, I want to say, nah, it looks like, I feel like Riven's just trying to come for a little come up. Okay, she wants a little sugar daddy. That's what I'm saying. But that's my thoughts. What do you guys, ladies, think about this situation with SK and Raven? Talk to me. You don't have to run at once, guys. Okay. Oh, see, I can't hear you. Mic's off. Your mic's off. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I understand what SK is trying to do. But I don't, I'm not a man, right? And so I don't know exactly what men I do know what men prioritize to some degree, and I think because it seems like men prioritize looks way more than us. And this is another example of that, because Raven is giving SK absolutely nothing. Am I still on here? Can you guys hear me? Can y'all hear me? Let me know.
We can hear you. Go for it, Siwe.
Oh, it starts spinning. Okay, thanks guys. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, I just, Raven is clearly holding out. She's not going to give him none, which is her prerogative. That's fine. She doesn't seem to have like a big connection with him, and she's not emotionally connected with him. And so I just wonder, how much is looks really carrying this situation, because I don't get what SK is getting out of. As far as Raven goes, Raven is looking for a bag. She's looking for stability. And she made that really clear when she said that I wanted to come out better in this marriage than I was before. And she's having regrets because she's realizing that he's not going to be able to pay all her rent and do all the things that she wanted to get out of this marriage. And for her, it's not worth it. Like if she's going to still have to pay her rent and her bills, it's not worth it. And that's not saying that's wrong. Like if you get married, yeah, it would be great for a man to take on that and take that burden off of you. I think that's what a lot of women want. That's what most women want, to take some burden off of you, right? Like that's not an issue. I don't want to say that's the issue, but if that's the only thing that you're looking for, I think that's where it gets weird. Because SK is still a person. He's a human, and he deserves love and respect. And I do think Raven probably could grow to love him, but it's like, right. Thank you, Mango. But people can talk trash about Raven, and I'm going to be done. But what I was trying to get at in the beginning, and what Mango said, SK is also the other side to this IG baddie movement. It's a bunch of men who only prioritize attractiveness and literally will be complete goofies, talk about I'll move and I'll fund your whole house off my student loans. Like for every Raven, there's a SK. And I really can't be mad at Raven, because what the F? Like she's literally providing you nothing, and you're bending already talking about you're going to send her money off your federal student loans and off of your savings. So what are we supposed to do about that? We shouldn't come to save SK. He don't want to be saved. And her friends literally disrespected that man. And low-key disrespected Nigerian women, acting like they're docile. They clearly have not left the state of Texas. Nigerian women are not docile. And they don't sit in the home just cooking, cleaning, and folding clothes. I don't know where they need to get out the club and live a little bit, because I was like really confused by that generalization. That did not match nothing. So I was like, SK, come on now.
They better watch Real Housewives of Potomac and see Wendy in action doing all she doing, full Nigerian and all. So,
yeah. Working women. I have no idea. Now, she had a stereotype of Nigerian men. Look, slander them all you want, but I didn't appreciate the Nigerian women slander. No.
The part of it I did appreciate is knowing their friend. The honesty that they gave about their friend, because that's the best honesty you can give right there. All the extra stuff, you're just over here projecting or speculating or whatever the case, especially if you ain't got no Nigerian friends. So all that part y'all could have left out. But the part on your friend not being serious about a relationship ever, only looking at this man for like, yes, the money and stuff like that, because they know they friend and they don't see it for him because he is a yes man. And she ultimately is going to need something more than that in her life. I agree with them on that. That's where they needed to keep the conversation and let it be right there. It just speak on your friend and what you know of your friend, because all the rest that you were doing, you know, that was unnecessary and that was really mean to that man, especially in front of his face, because you're not only talking about his people, his culture, his mother, his family. So you don't know how far your disrespect just went in that moment. Or whatever. And she kind of should have shut it down, especially, I don't know what order that we seen it that she met the mother first, but you know, it could have been a different order. But the fact that you met his mother and the mother was actually really nice to you and polite to you, you should have shut it down. Because I'm pretty sure you had some conversation with the mom to say, okay, this is not the type of people that they are. But outside of that, what are y'all talking about in the daggone pods? I'm not mad at you having these expectations for your husband, your wife, whatever the case may be. But these are some conversations that should have been said earlier. All up and through the pod, you want to talk about how men is seeing you because of the type of work that you're doing and this and the third, and you out here making your money, you got your bag. And that's even in the conversation when she had with him about I want you to pay half my bills. I built myself to this lifestyle. I have done this. I have done that. Okay, the man is all in here. I at this point, sis. So when you get to talk about, I want him to take care of half, he gonna look back at you and say, where the hell the eyes go? How did they turn that we? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this is the wrong conversation, especially to have with anybody, but with this particular man who just got to telling you, I'm getting rid of my house so I can go to school in California or whatnot. That was not it. Now, don't get me wrong. He definitely comes across as somebody that got some money in the background. He got some things going on, but he's also leery of you because you had to build yourself up to even just liking him to this point. And I'm not saying she fully all in or nothing like that, but she built herself up to liking him. She had to let her walls down to even get to kissing him and carrying on and hugging him and all that in the third. So he's not about to jump all in. Now, on the other hand, I got to watch him too, because he was taking some late night calls from Nigeria. And he was still talking about, you know, the streets is still popping. So I need to see the streets was calling, even though I wasn't answering. But clearly you was answering the streets, because she said that you kept her up, disrupting her daggone sleep behind it. Okay. So you must watch too, sir. You still got some little things going on, especially if you're talking about you're going to go live in a whole nother state away from me for however long, 2 years or whatever and stuff like that. Like, what are you talking about? We just now getting married, and so I'm supposed to spend my honeymoon in 2 different homes?
He trying to be Simon Gubadia.
I ain't got no time for Simon, because we already know what Simon be on. Okay.
You think he's Simon at this point?
We're not about to play these games. And we know there is some stereotypes about Nigerian will swindle you out of some stuff. So he tried to swindle her out of the cooch or whatnot, and some other people too. So he can't be trusted. Like I said, I was with him for a cool little minute, and then he jumped himself off a daggone cliff. When he talked about he going to school and all this, I'm just like, ugh. But you a yes man to everything she's doing. I don't see how that's gonna work. you was yes and everything except for that coffee pot when she was sitting there waiting for you to help her out with that one, and you was just minding your business, washing your dish. So these two right here, I've seen a future for them for a hot second. And it's just going to come down if she's willing to wait the 2 years. Because I'm not doubting that he will not provide her lifestyle that she wants. I'm not doubting that. I definitely believe that he will actually do it because he does value something about her enough to sit there and say yes to a lot of things that she said, but would she wait for it? That's the real question. Would she wait for him to build up himself? Because she turned Bartise down because he said he can't give her Rolexes just yet. So if everything is not in a now for her, I don't think it's going to work. If she can't get it when she wants it, I don't think it's going to work. Oh, I sat back, JR said, because you sat up. I thought you wanted to get up in this.
Yeah, no, I was only going to say, like, she does come across as quite materialistic with some of the comments she's made. And the thing is, I think she expected SK to have that money and be balling, right? But if he's studying, I think he's in tech, right? So the field he's studying and what he plans to do could eventually be quite lucrative for him, could make him some money, right? A lot of money. And I think there's also maybe a hint of his culture where he goes out and provides and takes care of his woman, right? But again, when you go back to what she was saying in the pods, she was talking about 50-50. And then now that they're out the pod, she's talking about, you have to fund my lifestyle. That's kind of like the mood switch that she's dropped.
Well, she said 50-50, but she didn't elaborate. It was on her bills.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I think you're right. He is a bit of a yes man because I think he wants to keep her because maybe he might not come across her type or her personality, and definitely not her looks in his everyday walk of life. So, you know, he thinks he got the better end of the deal as far as some of the couples go, right? And as we spoke about earlier, Bartise definitely has eyes for Raven. So, but yeah, SK, I'm not sure if she can work around the fact that she's not as physically attracted to him yet, but she has made attempts to warm up to him. The cuddling, the kissing, you know, things like that. It may not be something that she jumped at the chance to do, but you can see that she's warming up to him a lot. Or she's at least making an effort to. I don't know what her motives are. I can't say it's purely financial or to finesse him. I'm not going to say that yet. But with what she does career-wise in fitness, and then also I saw somewhere that she waits tables and things as well. Man, he's going to be weary. Any guy these days is kind of weary of and protective over the amount of money they make and where that money's going. So I hope he's prepared to not be finessed. Yeah.
Where I do feel he can gain more points with her is with the fitness thing, because she would look at him as something to build or whatnot, because it's not like his stature is far off or whatever. He, you know, like in her mind, I can see be like, oh, a few tweaks here, a few things there or whatever and stuff build you. And, you know, you get into this fitness thing with me and we can build this together or whatnot. But because when she was doing that yoga with him, that tantric yoga or whatever they were doing together, and he was kind of like, yeah, no, I don't like this. That is also going to be a problem for her. It's like I said, sometimes with us women, it's not so much the physical. It's all the other little things that adds up to us saying no. You know, if you have a certain swag, if you have a certain demeanor about you, of course, money in a lot of ways, we can sit there and work with you as far as the physical go. But if I'm into fitness and you're just not, like Kojo said earlier, that's a lifestyle. And it's very hard for me to be with you and you don't accept my lifestyle. Because you're going to be sitting there eating what you want, doing whatever you want, while I'm over here fasting and carrying on. And I got to be up at 6 a.m. while you still laying in the bed, and I got to work out and I got to do all of these things. You don't understand my life. We're just not bonding. If he can figure out how to adjust to that and get into that, it could be a Gucci Man and Keisha Kior. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning with me and work out with me. We can probably do something. You know, we can make these moves. But if he can't yes to that, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. If he can't yes to that, and possibly her going half. But I don't think she gave up all her sugar daddies yet. So, you know, other people still putting in on this rent. So she okay. But going to half on some stuff, that's where they're going to have the major problems. They're going to have the biggest problems in that part.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, okay, so we kind of already identified SK as being a yes man, right? But how much do you think Raven will have to compromise for him? You know, is it going to be reciprocated? It isn't. It's going to be him acquiescing a lot more to her, all right, in order to keep her around, and that's going to put him in a constant uphill battle to try and keep her pleased. And she might be the type that's never satisfied. Like, as soon as he reaches one goal or ticks off one box for her, another option opens up. So, but again, you're right. The compatibility issue, like what we were speaking about before, is important. If she's into fitness, it's a lifestyle, just like we said with Bartise. So, you know, he may. Let's face it. There's nothing wrong with being healthy and fit, and there's nothing wrong with working out with your partner if they want to do that. Problem is, though, like I said, if he's constantly trying to adapt for her and it's not coming back the same way, it's not being reciprocated, yeah, there's going to be problems ahead.
I'll just say this real quick. I know some people in the chat were saying, well, he work out, but when we saying it's a lifestyle, it's like me being a carnivore and dating a vegan. It's kind of a hard thing to be together or whatnot. You know, it's the thing. And y'all seen it when she went to the mom's house. She was like, I don't eat like this. And that it wasn't the fact that she was eating really so with her hands. It was the amount of food that they actually had on their plate. You know, those type of lifestyles, that's what I mean. Like, you know, if I'm doing smoothies in the morning, I'm eating this avocado toast in the afternoon, I'm doing this. Sometimes I need a partner that's on that same wave. You know what I'm saying? Because that keeps me, if I don't have willpower, especially if I don't have willpower, that keeps me going down the path that I need to be on. Now, I don't know how strong her willpower is. She could probably fall off the horse every so often when it comes to food or whatever or whatnot. And it'd be hard for her to be with somebody that it just eats big meals all the time and wants big meals and requires these type of things. So it's not just the workout thing to her aspect of it all. It's not just getting up in the morning and go and do this thing. It's this whole, I have this routine and I need you to be able to be a part of that routine if you're a part of my life. And that's the compromise that she has. And on the same end, JR, he has his own compromises too. Cause it's like, I got school, I got work. Can you fit into that? And that's what we're actually saying is, will they do this for each other? How far are they willing to go with each other?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, listen. Let me not judge too early. Let me not get too harsh. You know, listen. Raven wants a certain lifestyle. SK is willing to provide it. You know, there are suckers in every lifetime, and since he's a sucker, who am I to say anything? Okay, because if you didn't see the signs, sir, you're surely seeing them now, and if you don't see them now, you're gonna surely see them later. Okay, so listen, no, but in all honesty, I do feel, I don't know, I feel their lifestyles. or maybe their approaches to lifestyle, I don't think they're the same. I really don't feel like they're on the same boat. You know what I mean? And the mere fact the friends said what they said, listen, I'm gonna need SK to open all ears. If friends start telling me, you know what, brother, I don't think it's gonna work. They don't like me. They don't like us. They don't like this relationship. They're here telling me a word. And bear in mind also, you don't have the benefit of doubt of getting to know. I don't want to say this. Normally you have a little bit of time. I know they had pod time, but you normally have a little bit of time to get to know that person, be around them, get to know them on a deeper level. I know the pods are that as well, where you can be like, well, you know what, it's us against the world. I don't think you have that here, personally, at this rate, with SK and Raven. Also, as well, I just feel like, someone said the friends could be haters. They could be haters. They could. They could very much well be haters. I mean, she will have to know that for herself. Raven will have to know if that her friends are haters or not. But SK, I would take that as a warning shot. You know what I mean? That her friends... Because remember, bear in mind, her friends said this, and did she challenge them? I don't remember her challenging them. So you know what I mean? If you really care about me and you think that I'm the one for you, and you're thinking about marrying me, when your friends are saying that kind of stuff, I'm expecting a shutdown. Like, no, guys, me and him are working together. We get on. I'm expecting some protection here. No protection at all. You know what I mean? So for me, in that instant, I'd have been like, all right, cool. Well, maybe I don't need to be here. Maybe the friends were real and they're truthful. And the reality is this: SK is a yes man. Cause I look at him too, and I go the exact same feeling. He's a yes man. And look, so long as you're yes, Raven will continue to drag you into her world. But the moment you say no, you're gonna find some ugly truths about the partner that you're with. And I think that particular part, SK, every accountability is on your neck. I cannot drag another man, drag another girl on your behalf. I need you to learn how to say no. I need you to have better boundaries. I need you to learn how to let her know, listen, hey, look, I'm going to school. This is what I can afford. I can't afford this particular part what you're asking for. It's going to mess up the kind of plans that we have in future. I'm now drawing into my savings just so I can pay your rent. Listen, that money's for X, Y, and Z. It is for these moments. I have it earmarked for this. That's why I said he shouldn't have been in the show in the first place anyway. But two, now you're here. I need you to have better boundaries. Okay? You're out here, bending your back over. You know what I'm saying? To take, you know what? I'll pay your bills with my savings. Negro, the savings were not for you to go and pay the rent. They weren't for that. They were earmarked for something else. All right? So I need him to get it together. I need you to finish school. And if this is really what you feel like is the right person for you, hey, I ain't gonna stop. If you love it, I like it. If you like it, I love it, right? But I'm gonna be real with you. This is not giving me any hope. And yeah, some men do get soft when they meet a baddie. It's telling me that you have much experience. It's telling me that you don't know how to you haven't had your heart broken properly. Maybe you don't know the real breaking of a heartbreak, because when you do, you start to snap out of these things, man and woman. So I need you to get out of that space quickly, fast. Nobody's worth now you losing your senses, So yeah, it's been a one or two instances I'm like, ooh, I'm not feeling them. I'm not feeling the way they're going about it. The Pilates thing, she was getting annoyed because he couldn't do the Pilates thing. Bruh, Bartise couldn't do the Pilates thing. Most women can't do the Pilates thing that you're asking us to do. Those Pilates that you're doing are expert level, baby. But she was getting annoyed because he couldn't do the Pilates. I said, if that is she's like, oh, I'm not usually dominant in relationship, but when it comes to the exercise, I'm dominant. I was like, girl, please, you are dominant in every front. Don't try to play with us. Don't try to play with me like it's only Pilates that you're dominant on. You're dominant in every front. That's why you let him know that he has to pay half the rent, because you ain't coming here to suffer for nobody. And I asked this question, but maybe I'm being naive. I said, what part of her lifestyle changes financially? I'm not saying that her lifestyle I'm not saying that that things don't. Of course, there'll be little things that happen, but he's at school. He's away from you. You're not cooking and cleaning for him. You're not financially actually aiding him at school. Your lifestyle hasn't changed. Now, I get it that you didn't want to come here and struggle, which I'm with you, and I'm not saying your lifestyle should come and get any worse, but it's not getting worse. Because unless the only thing I can see happening is, okay, you need to go and see him. He should be paying for it. Oh, I'm gonna fly you out, babe. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I'll fly you out. I'll pay for your flight ticket. Yeah, when you come over for a few days, I'll pay for this. I'll pay for that. And you're gonna pay for little food that you're gonna go out for, whatever, a meal, whatever. That's about it. It's not an extra madness of your lifestyle that's actually changing financially. So that's the part I didn't really get. For me, that's the part I didn't really get. So, yes, I know she didn't get married to struggle. I get it, but where is a struggle? That's the part I'm trying to understand. Where is a financial struggle? And maybe I'm not seeing it, so I'd be happy to be corrected. But where is a financial struggle? Because she's not taking anything on. He ain't even in the home. He ain't even staying with her. So maybe I'm not seeing it.
The only thing I could say for where she's projecting right now is because some of the stuff that she was hinting, like, oh, I work, a lot of men don't like what I do and all this stuff like that. It sounds like she don't want to work anymore. So that's probably where she's projecting that, okay, I'm gonna need you to pay half of these bills because what I want to just do, I want to just be able to do what I want to do, which is probably go and be a Pilates instructor instead of having to work in the bar and doing all that, because maybe just the one job is not paying enough.
That's fair.
So maybe that's where she's going with that conversation is, I want somebody to pay half and I want to do less.
It's a sad situation. Any other thoughts before we conclude this segment? No? Yep, I'll be honest with you. Listen. Someone said what her friends have got, says she got lots of clients. Lol. Someone says she wants him to say, baby, I don't like that job you do. Stay home and I'm going to take care of you. Maybe she's looking for that. Maybe I know people are saying that. I can't see. I don't think that's what she wants, to stay at home. I think she wants the option of being like you said, Jay. I want to do my Pilates and that's it. She's very much given me, my money's mine, your money's mine. That's the energy she's kind of giving me. It's like, my money's mine, your money's mine. Like, that's what I expect to be taken care of. And that's what I'm kind of feeling at the moment. You know what I mean? But I definitely don't believe that she doesn't want to work at all. I think she wants to work. I think she wants to have her independence and freedom. She just wants to be taken care of financially. So she'll still be able to do her Pilates whenever she wants to, have her clients, maybe pick up another job if she wants to. Again, it's all a if I want to kind of energy. I think that's what it is with Raven, rather than saying she doesn't want to work at all. So yeah. Someone said the struggle is expectation of a wife, i.e. sex, love and affection with someone she doesn't fancy. For little improvement on life, she funds herself. Well, no one told you to be there. Yeah, you're acting like we told you to go there. We ain't. SK is not forced. You don't have to be here. So if you end up marrying him, ain't that to do me. But if you're gonna go ahead of it and choose someone you're not fancying, you make it work, man. Listen, marriage is a very long time. Make it work. You know what I mean? Like, listen to what you're actually saying. What you're actually really saying is, if I can't get the man that I like physically, at least you should have the funds to make up for it. But you're not there for love, really. You ain't really there for the love, really. You're saying that's the only way you can be with a man. If he's ugly, well, at least he gotta have some money. And listen, I hear you. I'm just saying, it's not a good basis for a foundation of marriage. That's all. It works for a boyfriend thing, but when you get married, yeah, it's not it. Okay, well, we're coming to the end of the show, guys. Jay, you know what? You've been chosen. You've been nominated as Deaconess. Deaconess Jay.
All I can say is, everybody in the chat, all of us at the panel, tie your ropes to yourselves, because each of these couples gonna push us off the edge each week. Okay, that's what they've been doing this whole time. Just when you think you'd be like, okay, you a sound one, you okay? Somebody jumps off the cliff and try to take us with them. No. We cannot go down these holes with these people this year. But on all serious notes, the beautiful thing about this show this time, it is actually showing us real life struggles that we go through in relationships, conversations that do need to be had prior to getting down this far. Granted, they're in a speed zone relationship type situation, but a lot of us need to really, when we have partners that we're really considering spending our lives with, we need to talk about finances. We need to talk about children. We need to talk about family values. We need to talk about religion. We need to talk about all these things that are on your list that are deal breakers, and not wait until we fall in love with people and then be like, oh my God, wait, you don't like this, you don't want this, this is not right. So, if you got somebody there, have these conversations and be okay to say, you know what, we're best as friends. We're better off at just going our separate ways and finding what is better for us down that road. We don't have to commit each other to ourselves to nobody in this world. That's the beautiful thing about this world. We have choices. And there are a lot of them out there. So go make the best choice that is for you. Like I said earlier, it's a conscious decision. Whatever you could live with, you're not going to find perfect. So please stop looking for perfect, but find what is perfect for you. So that means that person that's on your 80 radar, that's way up there. If those 20s are not a major deal breaker for you, try to work with it as best you can, because listen, like I'm just saying, we not perfect. So if y'all want to look for perfect, y'all find that 3-hour conversation we had prior to this with Justice. He's still looking for perfect, okay? Just to be a friend with them, to even be in a relationship with them, to even think about marrying him first. So this is what perfect is getting you with the man out here, okay? So be careful out here. All right, that's all I'm going. You shouldn't have let me up here, Kojo.
It's okay. I love it. That's a good roundup. You know what I mean? A very, very, very good roundup. One thing someone said, I just realized someone said, and we can discuss this on the next one, is that Raven did say about her parents being her family being a particular way. And it sounded as if like she was making an excuse for the fact that they could potentially be racist. So we're going to deal with that on the next thing. Yeah, because she said about her family being...
Isn't she a mixed baby though?
I heard that too. I heard that too.
Family, one of it white.
I know she was raised. I know she was raised by, but she okay.
Snow is the white, and then she made a comment. I don't know what the comment was, or something like my family are. I don't know what the comment was, but it was alluding to the fact that they may not accept a particular thing. So
I'm glad you say it, because as soon as I say somebody with a white mom, people want to get in these comments. But see, it's like,
I mean, I know she did struggle with them, and she was saying that they potentially won't come to the thing, but yeah,
y'all
I'm like, you're mixed. Okay.
Y'all surprised?
Okay.
I'm not surprised, but I'm just saying,
And all your friends is pretty much black.
That's the point. Listen, sometimes some people have black folk around them just to make themselves a little bit better.
Her and Bartise need to link up.
But you know what? Cole was struggling with his family too, because they didn't agree with him coming on the thing.
That's
too,
true.
so.
They didn't agree with the Christian family.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, Texas is different, y'all. I'm just gonna say I lived there for a while, so it's different.
Bubble baby.
All right.
Well, guys, we're gonna leave you guys. It's been a good show. We appreciate you guys as well. And don't forget as well, guys, if you want to continue the conversation, make sure you guys also join our lovely Patreon and join the Discord family. A few of you guys already joined as well. It's been good conversation. We get to talk about the show. So you guys get to talk about these different shows. You want to talk about Ready to Love, Married at First Sight, 90 Day Fiance, Sisters, Zatima, whatever show you feel like you want to talk about. Listen, let's start building that community. I know a lot of you guys already joined already, so it'd be good to see more of you guys on there as well, so we can chop up more of these conversations outside of these lives as well. So you can talk about it when you see it. You can talk about it straight away. What are you saying, Jay?
I was just gonna say, this is the second time since Atlanta I see you hold this cup like you still at the club of water. Even having this cup of water, like
the same water that he was drinking in the club.
I was drinking so much water and ice. Boy,
I ain't never seen nobody turn up off of water. 2 turns up off of water.
Hey,
bruh, they were giving so much ice to make no sense. Like I'll be literally after 2 sucks and the drink's done. I'm like, bro, listen, I need you to reduce the ice, add more water. It's ridiculous.
Kojo in the section popping bottles of water.
Aquafina.
You already know me. H2O, baby. H2O, baby. Litos. See you there, guys.
Babysitting a cup of water.